What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 3MF. Chapter 51 Knife and Straw Hat Luffy. Advertise here. At this time, the news of the trio of bounty hunters landing on the island has quickly spread throughout the island. Almost everyone on the island already knows. The purpose of the Zoro trio's trip is to hunt supernova pirates on this island with a bounty of over 100 million. And the most important thing is, 4 supernovas have been killed by them, and even Zoro and the others are still searching for the remaining supernovas on the island. More than that, the news that the 3 Zoro killed celestial dragons has also been posted on the island. Sabayati Archipelago, Area 13. The protagonist in the original book, Straw Hat Luffy, the captain of the Straw Hat Pirates, has just left Shaki's blackmail bar at this time, ready to find someone to coat his boat. In this book, Luffy does not have Zoro, Nami, and Robin on board. As for Robin, she will definitely appear in subsequent plots. Blackmail the door of the bar. Shaki, a woman who looks younger but is already in her 50s or 60s, reminded her loudly. Little Luffy, be careful of bounty hunters. According to the news, 3 bounty hunters have appeared on this island, specifically hunting for supernovas like you who offer more than 100 million rewards. Luffy laughed indifferently. Wow, ha 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 ha. Do not worry. I'm very strong, and as long as I find the uncle, I will come back. After speaking, he walked towards the street alone. For his own strength, Luffy has always had sufficient confidence. On the street, Zoro and all 3 of them were holding a bottle of wine in their hands, walking swaggeringly down the street, drinking from time to time and taking a sip. With their current strength, the supernova poses no threat to them at all. So for Zoro and them, supernovae are just their prey. But at this time, when the local residents saw them, they were very frightened. He didn't even dare to look at Zoro and the others, as if they were afraid of something. Zoro couldn't help but said helplessly, "Hey me, Johnny, Joseph. Why do these people seem to be afraid of us? We are not pirates, what's to be afraid of?" Johnny and Joseph couldn't help shaking their heads. "Boss Zoro, we can't figure it out. People should welcome bounty hunters very much. Why do you treat us with an attitude of fear of avoiding it?" At this time, the residents around also whispered. It was these 3 bounty hunters who killed celestial dragons. I remember they defeated Shichibukai's sand crocodile before, but they did not expect the celestial dragons that they killed again today. It seems that all 3 of them are Luo-En's apprentices. The bounty hunter Luo-En who first defeated Mihawk Hawkeye and then beheaded the legendary Golden Lion. Dare to kill celestial dragons. Guess whether this matter is related to Luo-En. This is not clear. Everyone was talking in low voices, they only dared to observe Zoro and the others from a distance, and didn't even dare to look up at them. Just at this time, a young man wearing a straw hat also came on the street in front of him. Boss Zoro. Johnny and Joseph immediately pulled out a wanted warrant from Kabuto. Look, that's Luffy, the Straw Hat Boy. A supernova with a bounty of 300 million Baileys. After hearing the reminder from Johnny Joseph, Zoro first looked up, then couldn't help but said in a deep voice. Very good. The supernova of 300 million Baileys is worth my cut. Neither of you should take action. Only seeing him smile, Luffy in front of him has become Zoro's prey. Both Johnny and Joseph had no choice but to jokingly said. Okay boss Zoro, this prey is yours. It just so happens that we are too lazy to bother. Finally, Luffy seemed to have noticed Zoro and the others, and walked towards Zoro and the others head on, couldn't help but curiously said. Huh, green algae head. I seem to have seen a few of you in the photos in the newspaper. Remember, the 3 of you are bounty hunters. Stop suddenly. Luffy's eyes became serious in an instant. Step to step, Zoro had already stepped forward, then grinned and said. Straw Hat Boy, Luffy. Since you have recognized our identity, don't be afraid to run away. Luffy also frowned and looked at Zoro, the bounty hunter who specializes in hunting supernovas. I was still discussing you just now. I didn't expect to run into it. While talking, Luffy also squatted with his legs in a combat stance and then said. Run. Why should I run? I am different from other supernovae. Because I am very strong. The words are over. Luffy hit the ground with a fist. Second gear. Only saw the skin on Luffy's body turn red and emit a white steam. You said you are strong. It's really interesting. I don't know what can stop me. Zoro laughed playfully. Of the 4 supernovas previously encountered, only Kid barely blocked one of his moves, and everyone else was killed in seconds. Zoro has already pulled out the 3 knives worn on his waist, and bit the word Kazuchi in his mouth, holding the 3rd generation Ghost Toru and Yukizo in both hands. A way to block you. It's really arrogant. I've already said it. I'm very strong. The voice fell. Luffy's figure disappeared instantly. In second gear, Luffy's speed has been greatly improved. See, when it reappears, Luffy had already jumped in the air. Rubber jet machine gun, with the voice falling. But he saw Luffy's hands stretched out countless times. Bang 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 bang. The incomparably dense attack swiftly struck Zoro like a machine gun. Under Zoro's observation Haki, his attack was completely captured. Step to step, with both feet lightly on the ground, he escaped the blow with great ease, and suddenly jumped up the long knife in his hand and slashed towards Luffy. But Luffy suddenly turned around. His body turned dozens of somersaults in midair before finally landing on the ground, and a blood stain had appeared on his face. So fast, as if he had seen through my attacks. Fortunately, I escaped this blow. Otherwise, my head will have to move. Luffy couldn't help but underestimate. And this time, Zoro smiled. As expected of a pirate offering a reward of 300 million, he can escape this trick of mine, but then you have no chance. I saw him in a crossed posture with a knife in both hands. 3 swordsmanship purgatory devil slash. The figure rushed away suddenly. Even Luffy's eyes suddenly showed horror, he knew that he could no longer dodge this move. And just now, Kang. However, Zoro's figure suddenly stopped. A gray-haired old man holds a knife in his right hand, which has blocked Zoro's move. Chapter 52 Admiral Aokiji is here. Advertise here. The people present only saw it. An old man with white beard and glasses appeared and held a long knife to block Zoro's blow. The old man was wearing a pair of glasses, and there was a straight scar on his right eye, but his expression looked extremely relaxed. Johnny and Joseph were shocked. What? Boss Zoro's purgatory devil slash was actually blocked by this old man. And looking at his expression, it seems to be very relaxed. Who is he? Zoro immediately stepped back 10 meters away and stood with Johnny Joseph. His eyes also showed great horror. The mortal blow just now. He was actually blocked by the old man in front of him. So strong, Zoro said with drunken eyes. In fact, even Luffy was startled at first, then looked at the uncle in front of him and asked. Uncle, thank you for helping me. Excuse me, who are you? Luffy also saw this old man for the first time. Who knows? The old man looked at Luffy's hat, then looked at the sky fascinatingly, and finally said slowly. This straw hat is very suitable for tough men. I wanted to see you a long time ago. Monkey D. Luffy, with the voice falling. Luffy still looked confused. Long wanted to see me. Do you know me? But I don't seem to have seen you before. Paused. The old man couldn't help answering. People on this island call me the coder Lao Lei. As for my name, don't ask for comparison. I want to live a stable life when I am old. Good. The old man who appears now is the deputy captain of the Roger Pirates, Silver Rayleigh, also known as Pluton. In order to conceal others, he became a coder and called himself Lao Lei. Hear Rayleigh's answer. Luffy immediately thanked. Wow, old Lei, thank you for saving me just now. I am a rubber man, and I am most afraid of blade attacks. So you should be the coder, Shaki said. Step to step. Before Rayleigh could answer, Zoro has stepped forward again. Old Lei, I don't care who you are. Dare to stop me from hunting the supernova. I'm going to chop you off together. In Zoro's cognition. Now that the old man rescued Luffy, the Straw Hat who was a pirate, then he and the pirate were in the same group. Really, young man, Rayleigh said dismissively, you 3 just killed celestial dragons, right? What are celestial dragons? Zoro was puzzled. However, Rayleigh continued. Now you are in a lot of trouble. In my opinion. It's better for you to escape as soon as possible. Escape? Could Zoro be the one who escaped? Immediately refused. I don't care what you mean by these words. Anyway, now I am going to cut this Straw Hat boy Luffy. While talking, Zoro held the long knife in both hands, a sharp flash in his eyes. Take it, old Lei. 3 swords leopard Shinyu. But watching Zoro's body bend down slightly, first made a cheetah-like ready posture, and then dashed out to issue a slash. Kang. Rayleigh raised his right hand to easily block the move. Zoro instantly reversed his grip on both knives and issued a violent blow again. And Rayleigh seemed to have seen through this trick long ago, also blocked it with a backhand, and kicked it out. Boom. Kick Zoro directly. Boss Zoro. Johnny Joseph immediately stepped forward to help Zoro, but fortunately Zoro was not injured, but his eyes were filled with surprise. As if his attack had long been seen through by Lao Lei. Good swordsmanship. Zoro couldn't help but exclaimed. Rayleigh also praised. I remember you all are the apprentices of the bounty hunter Luo En. I have been able to master the use of master Haki at a young age, and swordsmanship has also reached a very high level. The achievements in the future are limitless. This is Rayleigh's sincere compliment. Then he persuaded. How about this? Since you are Luo En's apprentices, and you are so young and promising, the old man doesn't make it difficult for you. Don't hunt Luffy again. How? These words obviously meant to protect Luffy. Zoro categorically refused. Luffy the Straw Hat is a pirate. I am a bounty hunter, so hunting him is justified. Although your swordsmanship is indeed very powerful. Paused. Zoro continued. But if I retreat in the face of a strong enemy, then I won't be able to become the world's #1 swordsman in my entire life. It's not just humiliating my kendo. It's even more insulting master's reputation. These words are sonorous and powerful. Johnny and Joseph also stepped forward and pulled out their sabers and said in a deep voice. Good. We are all disciples of Luo En, and we must not let master be ashamed. So we won't make the cowardly act of running away. The 3 of Zoro, Johnny and Joseph have already made a decision to fight this guy called Laozi. Even if Zoro had fought against Laozi just now, and deeply understood that this old man was indeed powerful. But they are not afraid. Next moment, the three of them are already looking at Rayleigh intensively. Just beat you. Luffy's head is ours. Go ahead, Laozi. Seeing the sharp eyes of Zoro and the three of them, Rayleigh was even a little surprised. He hadn't seen such a sharp and determined look in his eyes for a long time. He couldn't help sighing enviously. Bounty hunter Luo N. That guy. I have received a few good apprentices. Just when Rayleigh was wondering whether to do it or not. He suddenly narrowed his eyes and looked up at the back of Zoro and the three of them. At this time, Zoro and the others also noticed something wrong, and immediately turned and looked behind. A tall man wearing a white suit vest, dark blue shirt, and a marine justice coat is slowly walking towards everyone. And also a very lazy tone. Ah la la, it seems that I came in time. Pluton Silver Rayleigh, known as the right hand of One Piece, you are also on this island. These three young people seem to be Luo N's apprentices. Did you kill celestial dragons? Chapter 53 The oppressive force of Aokiji. Zoro 3 defeated. Advertise here. Suddenly, everyone on the scene looked at the incoming person, and all recognized the identity of the incoming person. It's Marine Admiral Aokiji. Marine's highest combat power has appeared on this island. A celestial dragons were killed by Zoro and the others, so Admiral Aokiji must have come to them. Now Zoro and the others have suffered. Admiral is the highest combat power of naval headquarters. There was a little jealousy and sympathy in their eyes. Because in fact they also hate celestial dragons very much, but it is probably only Zoro who killed celestial dragons in public. Heard these words. The three Zoro frowned suddenly. Marine Admiral, is he here to find us? Celestial dragons. It looks like it should be the runny idiot we killed earlier. They finally guessed in their hearts. Marine Admiral Aokiji is here specially for them. At this time, someone present suddenly realized. What did Aokiji Admiral just say? He just called this old man One Piece's right hand, Pluton Rayleigh. That means, suddenly, the people present were shocked. Pluton Rayleigh, the deputy captain of the Roger Pirates back then. Laozi, the coder on our island, turned out to be the deputy captain of the Roger Pirates. No wonder Zoro's attack was easily blocked by him. Rayleigh is the deputy king. At this time, hear the comments of the people present. Zoro also suddenly realized. No wonder his attack was completely ineffective against the old man, and he even easily blocked him and kicked it away. This old man is really extraordinary. He turned out to be the deputy captain of Roger, the One Piece king. Even Luffy was surprised. One Piece Roger's deputy captain. Uncle Rayleigh, you actually know Roger, the One Piece king. When the identity was revealed, Rayleigh just spread his hands and looked helpless. Can't help but feel helpless. Sure enough, he was killed because of celestial dragons. So naval headquarters dispatched the most powerful admiral. It seems that I don't need to do anything with these young people now, the old man. The voice fell. Pluton Rayleigh pulled Luffy around and left. Now he just wants to live a stable life, so he doesn't want to have too much intersection with Marine. Admiral Aokiji didn't mean to stop Rayleigh either, but instead turned his gaze on Zoro and the three of them. Ah la la, Pluton Rayleigh is gone. But the three of you have to come with me to Marine headquarters. The voice fell. The three Zoro looked at Aokiji warily. Why? Just because you killed celestial dragons. But just now, the celestial dragons shot at us first, so we fought back. Zoro couldn't help frowning in a cold voice. Just now it was celestial dragons who shot first, and Zoro and the others killed the idiot. But, Aokiji seemed too lazy to explain. He just shook his head and slowly walked towards Zoro and the others. Alala, it seems that you don't know the status of celestial dragons yet, but you will know when you go back with me. Damn it. The Zoro trio were immediately ready for battle. But as Aokiji approached each step, even the ground began to freeze, and a huge sense of oppression came over them. What a strong sense of oppression. As this admiral with the highest combat power in naval headquarters. Boss Zoro, what should I do? Johnny and Joseph couldn't help frowning. Just feeling the tremendous pressure on Aokiji's face, their hearts trembled. Step to step, Aokiji still walked towards them slowly and said lazily. The apprentices of Luo N. You were able to kill 4 supernovas. It seems that you have some strength. I'm also acting under the orders of my superiors, so I'm still obedient, and there is no need to waste time. Follow him step by step. Even the air was filled with icy chill. But at this time, Zoro never thought of retreating. The three of them glanced at each other, then their eyes condensed. Marine Admiral, we won't catch it with our bare hands. Go together. The voice fell. The three of Zoro Armament Haki have already moved away, and they stabs towards Aokiji together. Even if they are facing Admiral, the highest combat force in naval headquarters, there is no fear in their eyes. 3 swords Gyuki Yonclaw, 1 sword style Flying Dragon, 1 sword style Horse Ghost. The 3 Zoro each performed their own stunts and attacked Aokiji together. To know, even if they are only one person, they can easily defeat the supernova, not to mention the 3 of them now teaming up. Even the pirates offering a bounty of about 1 billion are probably not their opponents. However, seeing Zoro 3 attacking towards him, Aokiji sighed helplessly. Freezing time. A shock wave formed by cold air was released instantly, and swept toward the Zoro 3 against the ground. The 3 Zoro's eyes widened when they saw this. Immediately jumped into the air. However, due to the influence of the air conditioning, their actions unexpectedly began to slow down. What? The 3 of them were shocked. Cover armament Haki immediately. The original offensive has come to an abrupt end. At this time, the 3 Zoro were in the air. Aokiji took the opportunity to release the attack again. Ice ball. I saw several icicles released from his palm, shooting towards the 3 of Zoro. Next moment, I saw these icicles congealing together, and instantly frozen the 3 Zoro in 3 ice balls. Plop. 3 hockey pucks fell to the ground. The 3 Zoro inside the ice hockey can only blame blinking, but their bodies are completely unable to move. Only used 2 tricks. As Admiral, Aokiji sealed Zoro in the hockey puck. As expected of Marine's highest combat power, Aokiji's strength completely crushed Zoro and the others. At this time, the outcome has been determined. Zoro and the others no longer have any resistance, and because they are covered by ice, they can't even speak. However, it seems that Aokiji did not intend to kill them directly, but shouted at the marine soldiers who had arrived from behind. Ah la la, bring them back. It's finally time for work today. The marine soldiers suddenly horrified. It's too strong. As expected of Aokiji Admiral, they solved Zoro in such a short time. Chapter 54 Public Execution. Capture the accomplice Luo N. Advertise here. Marine Headquarters. Marineford. Aokiji had already returned to the office and returned to life. At this time, the entire office, all the high levels except Kizaru have been gathered. Marshal Sengoku, Ms. Crane of Marine's General Staff, Hiro Garp, and Akainu Aokiji Admiral. All of Marine's senior officials were present, but at this time everyone looked serious. Finally, Sengoku was the first to speak. Zoro, Johnny, and Joseph have all been imprisoned in Impel Down. The world government has decided to punish them publicly and declare to the world the majesty of celestial dragons. The execution time is set 2 days later, which is the same day that Ace was executed. Suddenly, Garp frowned, his expression fluctuating. Although Garp's mood has eased a lot these days, when he heard of Ace's execution again, there were still waves in his heart. Luo N's apprentice. They actually killed celestial dragons. Ms. He said in a deep voice, it's really messy. Akainu also replied. Only when such a person is publicly executed, can we declare the majesty of Marine and the world government. Only Aokiji has some worries. Mr. Sengoku, should Zoro and Ace be sentenced on the same day? Will this be bad? Heard these words, Sengoku couldn't help asking, Kuzan, what do you think? Paused. Aokiji explained. Zoro and the others are Luo N's apprentices. And on the day of execution, in order to rescue Portgas d'Ace, the Whitebeard pirates will definitely be there. If Luo N also came to rescue the apprentice, I'm afraid we have to face another powerful enemy. However, at this time, Sengoku seemed to have expected this situation a long time ago. And said indifferently, I have considered this situation. It's only 2 days before the date of execution. Even if Luo N departs from East Blue right now, he will not be able to reach Marineford in just 2 days. So it is the most correct choice to execute the 3 Zoro as soon as possible. Sengoku's voice fell. Other marine executives also nodded in agreement. It is true. To arrive at Marineford from East Blue, most people need to cross the first half of the Grand Line, the sailing distance is too far. Even if the marine warship passes through the windless zone, it takes about 10 days. To know, even Zoro took about a month to reach Sabayati Archipelago from East Blue through the first half of the Grand Line. Now there are only 2 days left before the date of execution. Either way, it is impossible for Luo N to reach Marineford. Immediately afterwards, Sengoku added, and because the relationship between Luo N and Zoro is a master-disciple. Now the world government has regarded Luo N as an accomplice of the Zoro trio, and even ordered to go to East Blue to capture Luo N. After speaking, he sighed heavily. Just listen. Garp couldn't help but spit out loudly. What shit accomplice? Those bastards of the world government are sure to provoke Luo N. When the time comes to establish such an enemy for the world government, I am afraid it will be too late to regret it then. At this time, Aokiji also nodded in response. I also agree with what Garp said first. Zoro and the others are so powerful at a young age, they have even killed 4 supernovae in Sabayati Archipelago. Then Luo N, as their master, must be even more terrifying in strength. The top priority now is to welcome the day of execution in 2 days, so I also don't think there is any need to provoke a man like Luo N. I heard these words from Garp and Aokiji. Sengoku sighed rather helplessly. Of course I know I shouldn't provoke Luo N at this time. But this is the decision of the world government 5 elders. They have determined that Luo N is Zoro's accomplice, so they ordered Luo N to be arrested. And Kizaru happens to be in East Blue. I have decided to let him perform this mission. Yes, because of the killing of celestial dragons, the world government even regards Zoro and their master Luo N as an accomplice in this incident. He also issued an order to Sengoku that Admiral must be dispatched to capture Luo-en. At the same time, two blockbuster news are quickly spreading across the sea. 4 supernovas have fallen, the hunting plan of a trio of bounty hunters. Close black lens bracket. Kill celestial dragons. Luo-en's disciples go to jail. Close black lens bracket. New World Wano-kuni. Ghost Island. Kaido is still sitting and drinking, still looking drunk. Guru. Good wine. Kaido carried a wine jar up to the sky and poured it directly. And just now, Yan Cinder, one of the 3 plagues, walked into the Ghost Island, then bowed to Kaido and said, Master Kaido, there is important news on the sea. However, Kaido said indifferently, if it's about bounty hunters again, you don't need to report to me again. Laozi is not afraid of bounty hunters. At this time, Yan Calamity Jin said, Master Kaido. This time, although it has something to do with bounty hunters. But it is also related to our beast's pirates. Suddenly, Kaido couldn't help frowning. What did you say? How could it be related to our beast's pirates? We haven't been to East Blue. Kaido's tone was even a little impatient. But Yan Calamity Jin still said, Master Kaido, our pirate group's intelligence commissioner Hyaming Appu has completely lost contact with him. According to recent maritime news, Appu was already beheaded by Luo-en's apprentice when he was in Sabayati Archipelago. The words are over. Kaido's expression instantly became ugly. What did you say? Our beast's pirates intelligence commissioner Appu was killed, and was killed by Luo-en's apprentice. Damn Luo-en. Dare to provoke Laozi. Obviously it was Zoro who committed these things. At this time Kaido had already blamed this incident directly on Luo-en. Chapter 55 East Blue Gal Island. Admiral Kizaru is here. Advertise here. East Blue. Gal Island. Luo-en sits leisurely outside the wooden house. Princess Nami and Vivi are still waiting for him. How is this intensity? Master Luo-en drink tea. I just made chrysanthemum tea to clear the heat today. Does the shoulder hurt? Mr. Luo-en, so served by 2 beauties. Such a scene is a bit envious of others. After the golden lion Shiki was beheaded by Luo-en in East Blue, Luo-en finally resumed his leisurely life. Today, the entire Gal Island and the entire East Blue residents have regarded Luo-en as the protector of East Blue. It seems as long as there is him here, no pirate can invade East Blue. Suddenly, I could see a villager madly running towards Luo-en from a distance, and then he was still talking in a panic. Mr. Luo-en, the big thing is not good. The big thing is not good. When the arrival came, the person ran to Luo-en and handed a newspaper to Luo-en, and then gasped for breath. His face was already full of anxiety and horror. What's the matter? Luo-en took the newspaper and said disapprovingly. He spread out the newspaper just to see what was going on at sea recently. Immediately afterwards, even Luo-en's face changed slightly. Upon seeing this, Princess Vivi and Nami couldn't help asking with concern. Master Luo-en, are you okay? What's the matter? At this time the man breathed a sigh of relief and said to everyone, Zoro, Johnny, Joseph, all 3 of them were arrested by Marine, and they are scheduled to be publicly executed in Marineford 2 days later. Suddenly, everyone was shocked. What did you say? Zoro and they were caught by Marine. What happened? Aren't they bounty hunters? Why does Marine want to catch them? The man went on to explain. It seems that the 3 of them killed celestial dragons. So Naval Headquarters sent Admiral. Although they have beaten many pirates with their strength, they are not Admiral's opponents after all. The people around looked at each other and then talked. What are celestial dragons? Why have I never heard of it? Celestial dragons are nobles in the world. It is said that ordinary people like us must kneel down for celestial dragons when they see celestial dragons. Why? Why do you kneel down? I think it was Zoro and the others who didn't want to kneel down, so they clashed with celestial dragons. Someone analyzed this way. Then everyone around couldn't help looking at Luo-en. Mr. Luo-en, Zoro and the others have been arrested by Marine and will be executed in 2 days. What should I do? Just now, suddenly, someone looked up to the sky and shouted. Look, what is that? People all around raised their heads and looked into the distance. Only seen in the distant horizon, a yellow beam of light flew towards their island. The yellow beam is extremely fast. It was almost in the blink of an eye. The yellow beam fell on Gal Island. But I saw the yellow light beam transforming into a human form. A tall and wretched middle-aged man was standing in front of everyone. Oh yo, Mr. Sengoku really gave me a trouble. As this Gal Island, Kizaru looked at them. Everyone around was shocked when they saw this. What a weird ability. It turns into a beam of light to fly in the sky. Is this the Logia fruit ability 1? Who is he? After hearing everyone's discussion, Kizaru jokingly said. Forgot to introduce myself. It's really rude. Hello everyone. My name is Pelusalino, Admiral of Headquarters, or I can be called Kizaru. The voice fell. The people present were shocked. What? It turned out to be Admiral from Naval Headquarters. It's no wonder that with such a powerful strength, it can turn into a beam of light to fly in the sky. It's almost unheard of. I remember Admiral is the highest combat power of Naval Headquarters. What did he come to our island for? Is it also to find Mr. Luo-en? After these days, as long as someone comes to Gal Island, the local residents already subconsciously believe that the other person must have come to Luo-en. As predicted, Kizaru also replied, "You guessed it, I really came to see Mr. Luo-en." Then, Luo-en has stood up from the reclining chair. Then they met Kizaru's eyes, and neither of them gave way. "Poor Salino, you came to Gal Island. For what?" Marine headquarters suddenly dispatched Admiral, presumably not to invite him to join Marine. He just looked at Kizaru like this. Kizaru answered bluntly. "Mr. Luo-en, Marshal Sengoku asked me to invite you to the Marine headquarters for tea. So you just come with me. Even if we set off on Marine's warship now, it will take about 10 days to pass through the windless zone and arrive at Marineford." Heard these words, Luo-en suddenly narrowed his eyes. "Sengoku told me to go to Marine headquarters for tea. What's the matter?" Paused. Kizaru explained to Luo-en. "Mr. Luo-en, your apprentice killed celestial dragons. Now the world government suspects that you are an accomplice or even the mastermind of this incident. So you still come with me." Moment. Displeasure flashed in Luo-en's eyes. Even his tone was a little impatient. "You mean? The world government suspects that I was also related to the killing of celestial dragons. So came here to arrest me and go to Marine headquarters." Chapter 56 Luo-en vs Admiral Kizaru. Advertise here. In these words, Luo-en specifically uses the word, capture. Obviously he has seen the intentions of the world government, and also knows the purpose of Kizaru's purpose in coming to Gal Island. At this time, Kizaru still has a playful attitude. "Mr. Luo-en, this is my mission on this trip. It's better for you to cooperate with me and come with me." People around heard these words. Can't help but look at each other in astonishment. What does it mean? The world government suspects that celestial dragons was killed. Is the mastermind in this matter Mr. Luo-en? So I sent Admiral here, wanting to capture Mr. Luo-en and go to Marine headquarters for investigation. Admiral is the highest combat power of naval headquarters. It seems that the world government has taken this matter very seriously in order to investigate Mr. Luo-en. Mr. Luo-en was the man who defeated the Golden Lion Shiki. Naval headquarters had to pay attention to the strength of Mr. Luo-en. And just now, Luo-en smiled provocatively and said, "Poor Salino, although the killing of celestial dragons is not my instruction. But I also think that Zoro's 3 of them did the right thing." His apprentice was arrested. Luo-en's heart was already burning with anger. Moreover, Luo-en, who is a traverser, has no good feelings for celestial dragons, and even now the world government even dispatches Marine Admiral to arrest him. At this time, Luo-en was already impatient. Suddenly, the atmosphere instantly became tense. However, it seems that Admiral Kizaru ridiculedly said, "What a terrible expression. It deserves to be the man who killed the Golden Lion. Mr. Luo-en, but I still suggest you come with me." Luo-en shook his head and jokingly said, "What if I refuse?" Kizaru had no choice but to spread his hands. "If you are unwilling to cooperate, then I can only forcibly take you back for business. It just seems a little troublesome." Suddenly, the raging atmosphere instantly permeated, and the people present immediately fled towards the distance when they saw that the situation was wrong, so as not to be affected by the fighting between the two people. Although poor Salino also knows that Luo-en's strength is not simple. But he is the admiral of the naval headquarters with the highest combat power, even facing the 4 emperors. "Forcibly take me back," Luo-en couldn't help but said coldly. "If you have this ability, then you can try it." Kizaru frowned deeply. "Mr. Luo-en, it seems that you can only use force." Sky Kong Yunjian. As his voice fell, I saw Kizaru condensing light energy into his hands and finally formed a lightsaber. See, Luo-en slowly pulled out Ryujin Jaka when he saw this. "Are you the Hawkeye defeated with this knife?" Kizaru's tone was still a little lazy. "Today you will also be defeated by this knife." Luo-en also answered casually. "It's terrible." The voice just fell. Kizaru's figure flickered, holding a lightsaber in his hand and slashing towards Luo-en. Kang. Luo-en raised his knife and steadily blocked the blow. "So fast." Kizaru's tone was really awkward. "You are not slow." Luo-en swung the knife again and drew it directly towards Kizaru's abdomen. Kizaru immediately blocked the lightsaber. Chang chang. The two weapons collided with each other and gave off fierce sparks. It seems to be evenly matched. But if you look closely, Kizaru's forehead was sweating. Kang was forced to retreat by Luo-en. Kizaru turned into a streamer and backed away 10 meters away. What a terrible swordsmanship. It deserves to be the man who defeated Hawkeye. Swordsmanship alone, I am not your opponent. At this time, Kizaru has given up the idea of fighting against Luo-en with swordsmanship. If he does compete with swordsmanship, he will suffer too much. Dissipate the light sword in his hand directly. Then he said coldly again. "Mr. Luo-en, have you been kicked by the speed of light?" His body instantly turned into a yellow light beam and disappeared instantly. Luo-en immediately changed his expression slightly. And the next moment, Kizaru's body suddenly appeared behind Luo-en. The kick that covered Armament Hockey's kick hit Luo-en's head directly. In the original work, Kizaru kicked at the speed of light, but easily killed those supernovas in seconds, which is enough to show the speed and power of this move. Even those supernovas with a bounty of over 100 million can't resist. Those spectators in the distance also secretly said in their hearts, so fast. Only Luo N's mouth raised. Just when Kizaru's light speed kick was about to reach Luo N's head. He seemed to have expected such an attack long ago, and immediately blocked it with a fist with his left hand. Boom. There was only a roar. The speed of light kick was directly blocked by Luo N with one hand. So fast. At this time, even Kizaru's expression became a little serious. Almost no one had time to react to his kicks at the speed of light. But Luo N seemed to have predicted it a long time ago, and directly and accurately blocked the blow. Humph. Luo N immediately gave a cold snort. Holding Ryujin Jaka in his right hand, he slashed directly towards Kizaru. The speed of light flashes. Kizaru's body has turned into streamer and quickly escaped. Then stretched out the index finger towards Luo N. Laser light. A laser beam shot directly towards Luo N. Luo N held the Ryujin Jaka in his hand and directly slashed at this laser beam. Zila. But I saw this laser beam being split apart. But this is not over yet. Wait until the laser light has disappeared. Ama Iwado. Kizaru's right foot also emitted a thick laser beam, and shot it towards Luo N's chest again. If it were for an ordinary person to face these successive attacks, it would have been penetrated long ago. However, Kizaru is facing Luo N at this time. Seeing the laser beam with the thick mouth of the bowl hit him. Luo N immediately grasped the handle of Ryujin Jaka with his backhand, and then cleaved it from the bottom up. Zzz. The blade passed instantly. Even the laser beam with the thick mouth of the bowl was directly split open. So strong. Mr. Luo N, I don't know how you will deal with this trick next. Kizaru's successive attacks did not work at all. Immediately flew into the air. Then he folded his hands in front of him, only to see countless dazzling light bullets in front of him. Bakichong Guyu. With the voice falling, the countless dazzling light bullets shot in the direction of Luo N. Tweeted. Countless light bullets attacked Luo N. Luo N immediately narrowed his eyes, with Ryujin Jaka in his hand running across his chest. Everything is ashes. Ryujin Jaka. Chapter 57 Admiral flees. Can't stay in East Blue. Advertise here. Suddenly, as Luo N called out the name of Ryujin Jaka. At the same time Zanpakuto has completed Shikai. Next moment. The entire blade of Ryujin Jaka released a huge flame in an instant. Humph. Luo N held Ryujin Jaka and swept out towards the sky. Boom. A torrent of fireworks burst out directly. And the countless light bullets were swallowed by this flame instantly. Wait until the light dissipates. All the light bullets have disappeared without a trace. Suspended in midair, Kizaru looked at Ryujin Jaka in Luo N's hand with some doubts. It turns out that this knife is enough to release the flame. When you killed the golden lion Shiki before, it seems that you used this knife. It seems to be a weapon that has eaten devil fruit. In the original work, the weapon can eat devil fruit. That's why Kizaru had such a guess about Luo N's saber. But, Luo N smiled without explaining too much. This Ryujin Jaka is not a weapon in the pirate world, so even if he explains it, he probably doesn't understand it. The onlookers in the distance saw this scene. In a moment they all beamed. It turns out that Mr. Luo N's saber can release flames. Why have you never seen Mr. Luo N use it before? Where have you not used it? The dozens of pillars of fire on the floating island before, should be displayed by Mr. Luo N with this knife. A weapon that can release flames, this knife of Mr. Luo N is so handsome. People around him looked at Luo N's hands, Ryujin Jaka who could release flames. My heart is already extremely excited. The countless light bullets of Ba Kai Chong Go Jade initiated by Kizaru were swallowed up by the flames that Luo N slashed out. This scene is really spectacular. At this time, Kizaru was still suspended in the air. It was discovered that even his killer, Ba Kai Chong Guyu, had been smashed by Luo N. The look couldn't help but look a little hard. He also realized that all his attack methods seemed to have no effect on Luo N. Mr. Luo N, it seems that I underestimated you. Only one knife can dissolve my Ba Kai Chong Guyu. Your strength is really terrible. Luo N also squinted slightly and jokingly said. So, are you going to forcibly arrest me back to Marine headquarters? Porcelino. However, Porcelino still spread out his hands with a lazy air. Mr. Luo N, this is the task assigned to me by the marshal. If I don't take you back, I'm afraid it will be a little troublesome. So there is still a need to make a difference. The voice fell. Porcelino's figure turned into a beam of light again, which had disappeared. Although he really wants to get off work, if he goes straight back like this, I'm afraid he won't be able to give Sengoku an explanation. Luo N frowned slightly and then said in a deep voice. In that case, just use the next trick. Let's tell the winner. Kizaru turned into a beam of light and suddenly appeared behind Luo N, covering Armament Hockey's kick again. Super light speed kick. Kizaru's kick is twice as fast as the previous kick at the speed of light, and its power will also be stronger. However, under Luo N's peak observation Hockey, Kizaru's every move was clearly captured by Luo N. When Kizaru appeared behind him instantly, and about to kick to Luo N's back. Fire refusal. Luo N shouted intently. The Shikai skill of Ryujin Jaka was directly used. Suddenly, a violent explosion suddenly released. Boom. I saw that Kizaru was suddenly shocked by the explosion, and even turned into a humanoid spouting a mouthful of blood. Puff. Plop. Plop. Kizaru was shocked tens of meters away, and his figure rolled on the ground for a few times before stopping. Then Luo N turned around and ignored Kizaru like this. When the people around saw this scene, their faces were immediately shocked. Gosh, am I right? Admiral, the highest combat force in naval headquarters, was shocked by Mr. Luo N and flew upside down and vomited blood. It seems that Kizaru is already injured. They looked at this scene in disbelief. Naval headquarters, the highest combat power Kizaru Admiral. It was shocked by Luo N, and blood spurted out of his mouth. Obviously, Luo N's fire rejection just now directly shook Kizaru's body into the air, and even caused him to suffer minor internal injuries. Even Kizaru did not react to this move. How? Pelusalino. Luo N was joking. Kizaru's sunglasses were all covered with cracks. The yellow clothes were not only covered with dust and dirt on the ground, but even the clothes were scorched by the explosion. This sudden move really caught him by surprise. He climbed up with his hands on his body, and then he was panting with one hand on his abdomen, and a mouthful of blood overflowed from the corner of his mouth. Over the years, Kizaru was injured for the first time. To know, even in the war on the top of the original, Kizaru's clothes are only slightly dirty. There has never been a scene of vomiting blood like this. He looked at Luo N unwillingly and said, obviously, as the highest combat power of naval headquarters, you were beaten to vomit blood. This posture is so ugly. I underestimated you. Since he has been injured, it seems that there is no way to defeat Luo N. Come again. Luo N looked at Kizaru playfully. No, I lost. I can't beat you by myself. Kizaru has been injured. He deserves to be defeated if he continues to fight. Paused. He couldn't help but praised Luo N. It's worthy of being a person concerned by all forces. Today's task, the old man, cannot be completed. 2 days later is the day your apprentices will be executed, but it seems that you should not have time to save them. There will be a period. Then Kizaru turned into a streamer and flew towards the distant sky. Suddenly, when people around saw Kizaru leaving like this, their eyes widened. Kizaru Admiral, the most powerful naval headquarters, escaped like this. What are you doing here if you don't run away? Why don't you take your own humiliation? Mr. Luo N's strength is so helpless that even Admiral can do nothing, it is incredible. They all looked at Luo N in surprise. Although they all know that Luo N defeated Hawkeye Mihawk, they also heard that Luo N defeated the legendary big pirate Golden Lion Shiki. But he didn't witness it directly like today, and even Marine Admiral is not Luo N's opponent. Although Kizaru had already escaped, Luo N squinted his eyes with extreme displeasure. Both the world government and Marine have targeted themselves, and Zoro and the others will be executed in public in 2 days. It seems that I can no longer stay in East Blue. Otherwise, it will only affect the local residents. And if they want to save Zoro and the others, it is far too late in time. How to do. ... P.S. To all the big guys. Frame tonight. 90% of Philu's pirate fan fiction is Marine or pirate, and there are few protagonists with bounty hunter status. In fact, it is easier to write about the identity of the Marine pirate, because you can follow the plot of the original book. So to be honest, the author is a little worried about the results on the shelves. I implore readers to spend a few cents on a subscription. If you want to save and wait for more words, please subscribe first. I wish all readers good health, family happiness, all the best, and great wealth. Chapter 58 System Sign in Reward Rinnegan. Advertise here. Marine Headquarters Marineford. All the Marine executives gathered in the office to discuss how Marine plans to deploy the battle on the day of Ace's execution. For Marine, Luo N is not in their plan at all they have to consider is how to face the attack of the Whitebeard pirates. Because they all know, in order to save Ace, the Whitebeard pirates must all be present on the day of execution. Although the 3 Zoro will be publicly executed on the day of execution, Luo N is far away in East Blue and there is no time to arrive. So Marine did not take the threat of Luo N into consideration for the time being. For a while, Sengoku stood up from the table and said, this time the Marine deployment plan was completed by me and Ms. Crane, the general staff. What else can you add to the rest? Everyone nodded looking at each other. Sengoku's plan is indeed very complete. Good. Since there is no doubt. Then the meeting will be adjourned. Just finished. Suddenly a yellow beam of light from afar shot towards the office for an instant. Boom. Then the yellow beam turned into a human form, and it was Admiral Kizaru who was already ashamed. Crunch. Kizaru opened the door. Everyone subconsciously looked at it and couldn't help but said in shock. Porsarino, what's the matter with you? Why is it so ashamed? It's all covered with dust. And even the clothes are burnt black. It seems that the mission has failed. They have realized it. It seems that Kizaru's mission to capture Luo N failed, and it seems that he was injured in the 09 battle with Luo N. At this time, Kizaru couldn't help but slump directly on the sofa, and then said to everyone. That guy Luo N is terrible. I can't beat it. I really can't beat it. Fortunately, the old man runs fast, otherwise I am afraid I will have to explain there. Even Kizaru Admiral did not have the usual jokes on his face at this time. Obviously he really lost. If you look at the strength of Luo N's apprentices, Aokiji couldn't help but said. As a master, his strength really should not lose to Admiral. Ms. He also nodded. After all, it was the man who killed the golden lion Shiki. Luo N should have such strength. Only Akainu frowned and said in a deep voice. Poor Salino. A young man, is he really as strong as you said? You are the Admiral of Naval Headquarters, representing Marine's highest combat power, and you were defeated by a young man. This has greatly damaged Marine's majesty. The voice fell. Kizaru spit out indifferently. Sakazuki, if you think you can defeat Luo N, you should go to Luo N now. Akainu is preparing to attack. Sengoku rounded the field and said. That's it. The arrest of Luo N will be put aside for now. The most urgent task now is the public execution 2 days later. Fortunately now, Luo N can't come on the day of execution. Otherwise, it will be a little troublesome. Everyone nodded. Fortunately, Luo N could not come. Otherwise, facing the Whitebeard pirates and the strongest bounty hunter Luo N at the same time, what will it be like? But the people present were still a little shocked. Luo N's strength was able to defeat Kizaru Admiral, and even defeat Kizaru to escape naval headquarters. It can be seen that the strength of Luo N really surpassed the imagination of the people present. Impel down. The 6th floor of the great undersea prison, this layer holds the most vicious criminals in the world. For example, Douglas Bullet, known as the heir of the devil. With his own power, he is as famous as Roger and Whitebeard, Red Earl Redfield. The former Impel Down guards Shiryu of Long Reign, World Destroyer Berndy Waldo, etc. It's not just these big pirates. There are also criminals who are about to be sentenced in 2 days and are also in this level of big prison. Portkas d'Ace, the son of One Piece Roger, was locked in a secret room with his hands and feet locked. At this time, his eyes were full of decadence. Because Ace's heart is very clear. On the day of execution, Whitebeard, his father, will definitely lead the captains to rescue him. Father, it's my fault. Marine's public execution is a trap. Marine must be to attract you to come, so as to kill you all at once. I failed Whitebeard's name. At this time, Ace even shed tears because of guilt. Suddenly, a deep voice came from the secret room next to Ace. What's so sad? We have also failed Master's expectations. We have already been impelled by Marine into Impel Down before we make our name resound in the world. It's Zoro's voice. Johnny and Joseph couldn't help but reply. At least you still have someone to rescue. Even if the master wants to save our 3 ineffective apprentices, now it is too late in time. It's only 2 days since the date of execution. I'm afraid it will take a month to get from East Blue to Marineford. But I really don't want Master to save us, because Marine is too dangerous. Admiral as strong as Aokiji, Marine has at least 3. Now Zoro and they even began to expect Luo N not to come to rescue them. After all, Marineford is indeed too dangerous. And they have already experienced the power of Admiral. So I don't want to get involved in Luo N. Zoro also said. Fortunately, Master is so far away in East Blue that he can't get to Marineford in 2 days. Otherwise, if it affects Master because of our affairs. That's so guilty. East Blue. Gal Island. Since learning that the Zoro trio were captured, the whole island has been filled with a serious atmosphere. Even if Kizaru Admiral came but was defeated by Luo N, it seemed that everyone was not happy at all. Because they all know. They will be publicly executed in Marineford, Zoro just 2 days later. Mr. Luo N. Sulong and the others will be executed in 2 days. What should I do now? Everyone couldn't help sighing heavily. Then analyzed. Even if we set off to Marineford now, it is far too late. There are only 2 short days left. Could it be that there is no chance? They all know that Zoro, Johnny, and Joseph are all the apprentices of Luo N. Although Luo N has never personally admitted that Zoro and the others are his apprentices, and even less personally called Zoro and the others his apprentices. But these days, Zoro and the others did these things because they wanted to be famous at sea and wanted Luo N to recognize their status as apprentices. Even Zoro and the others defeated Shichibukai's sand crocodile, allowing Princess Vivi to stay on Gal Island to serve Luo N. Not to mention, now just because Zoro and the others beheaded celestial dragons, the world government turned their attention to Luo N, even thinking that Luo N was an accomplice or mastermind. Presumably, the world government will definitely not let Luo N get better in the future. Think for a moment. But looking at Luo N, his eyes narrowed slightly and said in a deep voice. Just killing celestial dragons will be publicly executed by Marine. Even specially sent Admiral to Gal Island, trying to capture me back to Marine headquarters. Marine deserves to be a dog raised by world government 453. Heard these words. People around also nodded. Yes, yeah, it is true. Mr. Luo N was right to refuse to join Marine before. Marine is just a dog of the celestial dragon's government. I came to disturb Mr. Luo N over and over again, and even tried to capture Mr. Luo N back to Marineford. Marine and the world government will already be eyeing Mr. Luo N in the future. The people present also understood this very well. Then someone asked, Mr. Luo-en, nowadays, irreconcilable conflicts have occurred between you and the world government. The world government has determined that you are the mastermind in the killing of celestial dragons. Presumably they will send someone to trouble you in the future. Yes, Mr. Luo-en, the world government will definitely not let it go. What these residents said Luo-en was naturally clear in their hearts. At this time, he has made a decision in his mind. Open the system panel immediately. Open black lens bracket host. Luo-en close black lens bracket. Age. 24 years old. Open black lens bracket physique. 19,475 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket weapon. Ryujin Jaka close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket swordsmanship. Pinnacle close black lens bracket. Physique. Pinnacle. Conqueror's Haki. Peak. Open black lens bracket armament Haki. The peak close black lens bracket. Observation Haki. Peak. Open black lens bracket fruit. None close black lens bracket. See your own system panel. Luo-en couldn't help sighing heavily. Because in the entire property panel, there is no ability to make Luo-en arrive at Marineford in time. But, you can also perform a system clock in today. Try your luck. Thinking like this in my heart. Luo-en said silently in his heart. The system clocks in. Congratulations to host for successfully clocking in. Open black lens bracket acquired physique points. 25 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket current physique. 19,500 close black lens bracket. Get pupil. Rinnegan. Chapter 59 Susano. Farewell to East Blue. Advertise here. What? Rinnegan. After seeing this system reward, even Luo-en instantly felt overjoyed. In the previous system check-in, Luo-en got the most physical points. But today's system sign-in, the system directly rewarded Rinnegan, the pupil technique in Hokage, an anime. It made Luo-en overjoyed. What a good system. At such a critical moment, Luo-en was of great help. Have a chance. There is a chance to get to Marineford in time. I was overjoyed in my heart. This pupil technique Rinnegan is simply a treasure for Luo-en. At this time, Luo-en has stood up from his seat. Then he couldn't help but said in a deep voice. Do you think I can't get to Marineford in time? It seems that Marine thinks the same way, right? But I have decided. Let's leave for Marineford today. I heard what Luo-en said. The people around couldn't help but wonder for a while. Mr. Luo-en, what do you mean? Is it only 2 days before the date of execution? Do you still want to go to Marineford to rescue Zoro and the others? It's completely too late. From East Blue to Marineford, I am afraid it will take at least half a month. Princess Nami and Vivi also said with concern. Master Luo-en. Marineford is the naval headquarters, where there are countless strong players. Do you want to go there alone? It's too dangerous there. What's more, it's too late now, let's take a long-term plan. It is true, Marineford, as the naval headquarters, can be said to be strong there. Marine Marshal Sengoku, Marine Hero Garp, Marine's 3 most powerful admiral. Marine Backup Admiral and many powerful Vice Admiral. These are strong men with a certain reputation at sea. Now look at the posture of Luo-en. He has decided to go to Marine Headquarters Marineford alone to save Zoro and the others. Hear the doubts of everyone. Luo-en also said, Zoro, Johnny, and Joseph are all my apprentices, and they also go to sea because of me. Now they are facing the situation of death, all because of me. So I have to save them. These words were firm, without any hesitation. Go to Marineford alone. How much courage does this require? Looking at Luo-en's extremely determined eyes, the people present were suddenly surprised, and even completely impressed by it. At this time, the local residents all looked at Luo-en and asked suspiciously. Okay, Mr. Luo-en, since you have decided to save Zoro and the others, we won't persuade them anymore. It's just a long journey from East Blue to Marineford, and now there are only 2 days left. How do you have time? They are indeed very curious about this. Because in any case, East Blue Gal Island is too far away from Marineford. I'm afraid Luo-en is weak. Just now, Luo-en couldn't help but smile indifferently. Just when everyone was very curious. Immediately he saw that Luo-en had closed his eyes. For a while, then he opened it suddenly. Need time. Everyone only saw that Luo-en's eyes had turned into a purple whirlpool. This is because Luo-en has already started Rinnegan. People around couldn't help but be shocked. Mr. Luo-en. What's wrong with you? Why do the eyes suddenly become this color? They were all surprised. Even Princess Nami and Vivi immediately came forward and asked with concern. Master Luo-en, are you okay? But watching Luo-en's mouth lifted up and smiled, he walked to the shore alone. Get out of the way. Although everyone was a little unclear about the reason, they were also very cooperative to get out of the way. But still curiously discussing. Mr. Luo-en, what is this going to do? I don't know, I will know next. Does Mr. Luo-en have to show us what ability? Just when everyone was very curious. Suddenly, Susano. With a loud shout. However, Luo-en narrowed his eyes and suddenly formed a huge blue-violet giant on his body. Since Luo-en is to retain physical strength, he did not directly display it. The strongest body Susanoo, which is nearly a kilometer high, is completely body. However, although this small version of Susanoo is only about 20 meters in height, it already has the entire body. The whole Susanoo has completely enveloped Luo-en. And the most important thing is, this blue giant has wings on his back. Cloud time. The people around were suddenly shocked. They all watched Luo-en show Susanoo tremblingly, and they couldn't help but be surprised. My god, such a tall giant. How much ability of Mr. Luo-en is there that we haven't seen before? It's incredible. They all looked at this Susanoo carefully. Luo-en is also the first time to show Rinnegan's move. Moreover, in order to retain physical strength and to facilitate movement, Luo-en did not display the complete body Susanoo at a height of 1000 meters. Otherwise, it will be even more amazing. At this time, someone couldn't help but said in shock, "Look, everyone, this blue-purple giant has wings behind it." Others have also noticed this feature. Suddenly couldn't help but say in shock. What? It turned out to be 2 wings. Could it be said that this blue-violet giant can fly? But when facing Golden Lion Shiki before, Mr. Luo-en clearly said that he can't fly. Mr. Luo-en really gave us so many surprises. Feel the power continuously coming out of the body. Luo-en was already familiar with this feeling, and then controlled the blue-violet giant's wings to flap. Boom. With a violent air current. The strong wind swept through, blowing everyone's clothes coldly. And the next moment, but I saw Luo-en's figure actually flying. Ah, Mr. Luo-en. Mr. Luo-en actually flew. What kind of ability is this? It seems that Zoro can be saved. Mr. Luo-en should have decided to fly directly to Marineford. It is true. After getting Rinnegan through the system check-in, Luo-en has now decided to fly directly to Marineford. Nami and Vivi, I will send you 2 back to Alabasta first. Vivi, Nami will take care of you temporarily. This trip is extremely dangerous. Luo-en did not intend to take these 2 women. And since the sand crocodile was defeated, Princess Vivi has not returned to Alabasta. Therefore, Luo-en decided to send them to Alabas by the way. Princess Vivi smiled playfully. Don't worry, Lord Luo-en, I will take care of Nami, and I just want to go back to see the father. Nami also replied. Okay, Lord Luo-en. We both listen to your arrangements. When you guys spin back, we will serve you well again. Both Nami and Princess Vivi knew in their hearts that Luo-en had decided to go to Marineford, and it would be a drag if they took them. Therefore, they naturally choose to support Luo-en. People around also said, Mr. Luo-en, have you decided to go to Marineford? Be careful, those Marine or world government are already eyeing you. They are also very concerned about Luo-en. At this time, the king's Luo-en also nodded and said to the people on Gal Island. The parting words will not be said. Since my farewell today, I don't know when I will return to Gal Island. So everyone must take care from now on. The residents of Gal Island looked at Luo-en with heavy faces. One person went to Marineford alone. What kind of boldness and confidence is this? Only people who have strong confidence in their own strength can dare to make such a move, right? The voice fell. Luo-en did not procrastinate either. But looking at the hands of the blue-violet giant, he directly held the 2 princesses, Nami and Vivi. Boom. But the wings behind him suddenly fluttered. The blue giant has already flew towards the distant sky, but it has disappeared from the breath. Only the residents of Gal Island left, all staring at the sky in a daze. I have a strong hunch that the sea world will definitely be shaken by Mr. Luo-en in the future. Yeah, even Marine and the world government are on him. Mr. Luo-en chose to leave Gal Island, so he shouldn't hurt us. I don't know when the next meeting with Mr. Luo-en will be. Chapter 60 The Day of Execution. Marine's strongest lineup. Advertise here. Finally, the day of execution has come. Marine has long escorted Ace and Zoro to the prison of naval headquarters. Punishment this time, not only the execution of the pirate Ace, but also the execution of the 3 bounty hunters Zoro. Both the pirate and the bounty hunter were publicly executed on the same day. Such an example is simply unprecedented. However, the purpose of punishment for them is the same, that is to declare to the world the majesty and justice of the celestial dragons of the world aristocracy. In order to resist the invasion of the Whitebeard pirates, Marine has deployed the strongest position. At this time, Marine headquarters, lounge. A Marine soldier finally found Admiral Aokiji here. He first respectfully saluted and then said, So you are here. The time has come, Mr. Aokiji. Aokiji was still resting. At this moment, he heard someone calling himself. He couldn't help but sit up and lazily said, Allah, time has come. Should I have lunch? Lunch? What are you talking about? The Marine soldier said helplessly. It was the execution of Portgas d'Ace. Okay, I see, don't look so serious. Aokiji had stood up and walked casually towards the outside of the lounge. On the corridor, Kizaru put his hands in Kabuto and followed a Marine soldier. Unexpectedly, I summoned me at noon. It's really troublesome. If Whitebeard acts, there will be no way, right? Inside the marshal's office, Akainu got Sengoku's instructions and left the office. Only Sengoku narrowed his eyes, as if some plan was brewing. Attic meeting room. The door opened. A marine soldier stood at the door and saluted. Excuse me, everyone, it's time. Please go to the port together. The voice fell. Only 5-7 warlords of the sea gathered in the conference room, but Jinbei and Blackbeard Teach were not present. Gecko Moria angrily said impatiently. Hehehehe, just a Whitebeard 460, are you too nervous? There are still 3 hours before the death penalty begins. It's true, but in case of unexpected events, it is better for everyone to prepare as soon as possible. The marine soldier's forehead was sweating cold. After all, he is now facing the powerful 7 warlords of the sea. Step to step, Bartholomew Bear has stood up and walked outside the door. Really motivated, Doflamingo still sat on the sofa with a smile, and then glanced at Mihawk. Buddha, howling, the second largest swordsman in the world, even you have come out of retreat. He even directly called Eagle Eye, the world's second largest swordsman, which is enough to show how arrogant Doflamingo is. Since Hawkeye Mihawk lost to Luo En in the East Blue battle, he has entered a month-long retreat and his kendo skills have improved a bit. But, Mihawk seemed indifferent to Doflamingo's mockery, and then walked directly outside the door. At this time, seeing Bartholomew Kuma and Hawkeye are ready to set off, Gecko Moria also compared again. I can't be a step slower than you. Catch the shadows and corpses of the world's strongest at will. This is the best hunting place for me. Hehehehe. The voice fell. Gecko Moria also followed Hawkeye and Bear and left the meeting room hall. The marine soldier looked at the only 2 Shichibukai remaining and said, Master Doflamingo and Master Hancock, please as soon as possible. I see, don't call your concubine's name lightly. Hancock walked towards the door as soon as he finished speaking. Only Doflamingo is left in the entire conference room. Doflamingo saw that the other 4 Shichibukai had already left, and then showed an extremely sullen smile. Howl, 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 howl. Get ready now. The world where only real pirates can survive is coming. If you don't have power, run away. The era of the truly strong is coming. Buddha screams and screams, inside the cell of naval headquarters. With the order of a vice admiral. Now there are 3 hours before the execution, send the criminal to the execution stand. Yes, the 8 swordsmen responded immediately, and then walked towards the depths of the cell corridor. There was a huge cell deep in the corridor, and there were a total of 4 people in the cell. Portkas D. Ace, the pirate who inherited the blood of the pirate king Roger, at this time Ace was already full of decadence. Zoro, Johnny, Joseph. The 3 bounty hunters who killed celestial dragons and blatantly provoked the world government, their eyes are also full of unwillingness. As the 8 swordsmen opened the cell, each 2 swordsmen stood behind a criminal. Stand up. Time is up. Let's go. With the voice falling. 8 swordsmen pushed the 4 people together and walked along the corridor towards the execution platform. At this time, the whole Marineford, countless marine soldiers are preparing for the battle, as if the Whitebeard pirates will arrive at any time. The marines gathered from all over the world total about 100,000 people. A total of 50 warships circled the entire Marineford island. There are countless heavy artillery on the banks of the bay. From the harbor, you can see the 5-7 warlords of the sea, who are at the forefront of the army, as pirates. Bartholomew Bear, Gecko Moria, Don Quixote Doflamingo, Dracula Mihawk, Boa Hancock. Even those marine soldiers who saw these 5 pirates couldn't help but feel a sudden shock. And just now, a marine soldier noticed under the execution platform. That is, Admiral, what's the matter? This breathtaking sense of oppression. Guarded below the execution platform are the naval headquarters with the highest combat power, 3 Marine Admiral Akainu, Kazaru, Aokiji. The 3 were seated under the execution stage. Oh, when seeing the 3 Admiral, the whole Marine even started to cheer. All the power that can be imagined at present. In order to prevent Ace from being recaptured by the Whitebeard pirates, they are all on the island of Marineford, quietly waiting for the arrival of the Whitebeard pirates. Good. Marine is only worried about Whitebeard, only the strongest Whitebeard pirate group. As for the bounty hunter Luo En far away in East Blue, I'm afraid no one would think that Luo En can get to Marineford from East Blue in just 2 days. After all, 2 days are too short. Just now. AJCG. Crunch. With a door opened. Under the escort of 8 swordsmen. Ace, Zoro, Johnny, and Joseph have arrived at the execution stand. Suddenly, the audience was boiling. What? Countless Marines are yelling. And at the same time, the live broadcast of Marineford has also started at Sabayati Archipelago. Countless people have watched the live broadcast of Marineford's video, and their eyes are already very shocking. Hey, look, Fire Fist Ace is out. There are also the 3 bounty hunters, they are all Luo En's apprentices. It's a pity that they killed celestial dragons and chose to be executed on the same day. The countless soldiers of Marineford also looked at the 4 criminals. The Fire Fist, Ace, he might be the man who will shake the fuse of the World War. The Whitebeard pirates will definitely come to Marineford to rescue him. The 3 bounty hunters are all Luo En's apprentices. They killed the celestial dragons of the world noblemen in Sabayati Archipelago. They are so bold. But fortunately, Luo En is far away in East Blue, and we can't make it to Marineford at all. Otherwise, we Marine will have to face another powerful enemy. The attention of these Marines is basically focused on Ace, because they all know that the Whitebeard pirates will definitely come to Marineford to rescue Ace. And Luo N is thousands of miles away in East Blue. Therefore, these Marines didn't care about Zoro and the three of them at all, and even just regarded the three of Zoro as a bonus for this execution. Finally, with 8 swordsmen escorting 4 criminals to the execution platform, they knelt in front of many Marines. Step to step. At this time, Sengoku and Garp also walked to the execution stand. Garp's face was very ugly. He first glanced at Ace and sighed heavily, then stopped. Sengoku had already received the phone worm handed over by the soldier, and then continued to walk to the side of the 4 criminals. I only saw him holding up the phone worm and putting it in his mouth loudly. I'm Sengoku, Marshal Naval Headquarters. There are 2 things I want to convey to you in advance. Porcas D. Ace, as well as Zoro, Johnny, and Joseph in total, about the significance of the 4 of them dying here today. Sengoku's words have been heard by all Marines present, and the people of Sabayati Archipelago are also watching Sengoku in the video. Significantly, what's the significance of their death? The 3 bounty hunters should have offended the majesty of the nobles of the world because they killed celestial dragons. So the 3 of them performed public executions at Marineford, should it be to declare the majesty of the world government celestial dragons. These 3 people are Luo N's apprentices, but they are really bold and dare to attack celestial dragons. What a pity. At this time, their eyes all looked at the Zoro trio. Can't help but say with pity. Because for the local residents, they actually dislike celestial dragons in their hearts. But for so many years, only the 3 apprentices of Luo N dared to kill celestial dragons publicly and provoke the majesty of the world government. Therefore, the execution of the 3 of them must be to declare to the world the majesty of celestial dragons and the inviolability of the world's noble celestial dragons. But obviously, most Marine soldiers, especially ordinary people, felt sorry for the execution of the 3 Zoro. At this time, someone could not help asking, what about Firefist Ace? What is the significance of the execution of Ace? On the execution stage, Sengoku said loudly again. As for the execution of Zoro, Johnny, and Joseph, everyone should have noticed the news at sea. The 3 of them blatantly provoked the world government and killed celestial dragons, who are world nobles. A capital crime has been committed. As for Ace. Paused. Countless people present looked at Sengoku nervously. Finally he continued. Ace's father is One Piece. Gore D. Roger. Need time. The audience is silent. All the Marines on Marineford Square, but when they heard the news, their eyes widened suddenly, and cold sweat broke out on their foreheads. The residents of Sabayati Archipelago also showed horror. What? Fire Fist Ace, he turned out to be the son of Gore D. Roger. This is news that is enough to shake the sea. Hurry up and inform the newspaper. Are you still alive? One piece of Gore D. Roger's evil blood. Chapter 61 The world shakes. Blue and purple giants appear. Advertise here. With the announcement of Ace's identity to the world. Everyone's attention was placed on Ace's body, and they were completely indifferent to Sulong's trio. In their eyes, Zoro, who killed the celestial dragons, the world's nobleman, seemed to be less important at this time. Ace is the son of One Piece. That big villain actually has a child. Does the legend of Gore D. Roger continue? But the One Piece has been caught, so you can rest assured now. Is it the son of One Piece? That must be quite brutal. Today's execution is undoubtedly the best performance. In any case, Huaquan is finished. There are still 2 or 3 hours to be executed. He will soon disappear from the world. Countless people are frantically talking about the identity of the son of Ace One Piece, as if they have completely forgotten the existence of the 3 Zoro. Even 7 warlords of the sea felt extremely shocked. Buddha Xiao 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 Xiao, the son of Roger One Piece. Doflamingo sneered. So Huo Fist Ace, there is such a level of identity. Has one piece of Roger's biological son survived? This is a miracle. Anyone connected with Roger should have been sentenced at that time. Gecko Moria couldn't help but wonder. The whole being present. Only Garp was the only one with cold sweat on his forehead, thinking of the scene when Roger entrusted Ace to himself in his mind. And this time, Sengoku on the execution stage declared again. Ace is the son of Gore D. Roger, a man who has inherited the blood of evil. It is precisely because of this. It is of great significance to take down his head here today. Even if an all-out war with the Whitebeard pirates will break out, I will not hesitate. With these words, the impassioned voice fell. Need time. The Marine soldiers are already boiling. What? Oh, kill the son of One Piece. End this evil bloodline. Oh, with the voices of the Marines, it slowly fell. The entire Marineford Square has been quiet. Hoo. I can hear the sea breeze blowing freely on the coats of the Marines. Wow, waves of the sea stirred up. Even the Shichibukai standing in front of the execution platform felt something was wrong. It's quiet. It's so unnatural. Under such a scene, it's terribly quiet. Several Shichibukai commented. And at this time, the sea around Marineford suddenly rose up in dense fog, and in that dense fog, pirate ships appeared one after another. The scout standing on the gazebo was shocked. What? Coming. The Whitebeard pirates are here. Everyone is ready to fight. With an order. The heavy artillery on the shore had been aimed at the sea ahead, and all Marine soldiers were sweating on their foreheads and clenching their teeth. All Marines are ready. It appeared suddenly. Where did it come from? Even Marshal Sengoku frowned. Seeing the pirate ship appearing ahead, his eyes were filled with surprise. It's a large fleet of pirate ships. Quickly confirm where Whitebeard is. Youth Knight Thomas, Lei Ching Makuge, Decarbon Brothers, Skiyato, the Great Vortex Spider. Everyone is a top-notch master, and each is a captain who is famous all over the world in New World, with a total of 43 pirate ships. Although Whitebeard and the captains were not found, there is no doubt that these 43 pirate ships are all pirates under Whitebeard. Seeing so many pirate ships appearing on the sea, Doflamingo was actually excited. This is really interesting. It's so exciting. Come on, Whitebeard. He can't wait to see the strongest man in the world, and can't wait to experience this battle between Marine and Whitebeard pirates. However, as Doflamingo's voice fell, suddenly I saw that in Marineford Square, like the sea surface of Crescent Bay, many bubbles often began to rise. On the sea of Crescent Bay, boom, suddenly saw a jet of water rising into the sky. Sengoku widened his eyes and said in astonishment. It's impossible. As the water column rushed out, the shadow of a pirate ship appeared on the bottom of the bay. Boom, a burst of water splashed from the bay. When Sengoku saw this scene, he suddenly realized. I see. Whitebeard's mobile. It turned out to be from the bottom of the sea. The voice just fell. The water column rose suddenly. Wow, falling with countless streams of water. A huge pirate ship broke directly from the seabed in the bay. Need time. Countless Marine soldiers present were already stunned. The Moby Dick is here. With endless shouts. Hula la la. This huge pirate ship broke directly out of the water. Those scouts holding binoculars suddenly said loudly. That's it. Captain Marco of the first team. The 14 captains of the Whitebeard pirate group are all here. Kang Ta, Kang Ta. There was another footstep on the Moby Dick. Marines Admiral and Shichibukai are staring at the Moby Dick, their eyes can't help but gloom. Kang Tat, Kang Tat, Kang Tat. Finally, only a tall man with a white windbreaker and a naginata in hand came out. Gu la 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 la. We haven't seen each other in decades. Sengoku. When you see someone coming. Sengoku's face couldn't help but a cold sweat. Whitebeard. Is my dear son okay? Whitebeard asked calmly. However, when the Marine soldiers saw Whitebeard, their eyes were filled with fear. Unexpectedly, he would be directly invaded into the bay. Even Sengoku couldn't help being a little shocked. Gu la 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 la. Whitebeard looked at Ace on the execution stage and said, wait for me, Ace. Then he glanced at the Zoro trio. You three are the apprentices of the bounty hunter Luo En, right? Dare to kill celestial dragons. It's not like you can do it as a bounty hunter. I also want to meet your master Luo En. My old friend Golden Lion Shiki was killed by him. But it is said that he is far away in East Blue, and it seems that he has no chance today. Gu la 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 la. With the voice falling, the Zoro trio couldn't help lowering their heads heavily. We failed Master's expectations. Fortunately, Master is far away in East Blue. So he won't face such a danger. The lineup in front of you. Marine Marshal, Marine Hero, 3 Marine Admiral, 7 Warlords of the Sea. These are all well-known strong men on the sea. So Zoro and the others don't want Luo En to rescue them, because it is too dangerous here. There was even a little fortunate in my heart that I didn't get tired of Master Luo En because of them. But at this time, they saw the Whitebeard pirate group dispatched to rescue Ace. In fact, they inevitably also have a complicated feeling in their hearts. Boss Zoro, do you think the Master will come to save us? Johnny couldn't help asking. Joseph also sighed heavily. Zoro replied, Johnny, recognize reality. Master is far away in East Blue. Even if he wants to save us, he might be powerless. Besides, Master hasn't really recognized our apprenticeship, so what qualifications do we have to ask Master to save us? A trace of loneliness flashed in the eyes of the three of them. Seeing that the Whitebeard pirates came to rescue Ace, they can't help but fantasize that Master will also come to rescue them. Of course, this is just a fantasy. If they really want to choose, they would rather Master not come to rescue them, because Marineford is too dangerous. They don't want to see Luo En face such danger. Father. When Ace saw Whitebeard, he couldn't help but shouted. Pin. Whitebeard directly inserted the Kong Yun cut into the deck, then protected him with both hands, and finally slammed into the air on both sides. Boom. I only saw that even the air seemed to have cracks. The Marine soldier present was astonished. What's the matter? There are cracks in the air. What is Whitebeard doing? Just when countless Marines were shocked, the huge waves on the sea suddenly churned up. What the hell is it? Oh, the height of this water surface. It's a sea shock. He actually shook the sea. This is Whitebeard's ability. Need time. The Marine soldiers showed horror in the audience. Only the pirates headed by Marco are calm and composed, because they have seen the abilities of the old man Whitebeard a long time ago. But Gecko Moria didn't care about it at all. Hehehehe. Our side is the 3 most powerful admiral with Shichibukai and Marine headquarters, as well as 100,000 elite Marines. The opponent is the Whitebeard pirate group and more than 40 pirate ships under its command. Then how are you going to attack it? Whitebeard. Doflamingo also sneered. Buddha howls and whistle, it's really exciting. For a while, suddenly a marine soldier had noticed. Look, the water level is rising. Then when a scout looked into the distance. Then, what is it? Only saw, on the distant sea, a huge 100-meter high wave surged, and even the ground began to vibrate. What happened? Why does the ground start to shake? Gecko Moria couldn't help asking. Garp looked at Wei Mi. It's coming, the sea quake caused by this guy Whitebeard has turned into a tsunami and hit it. The sea in the distance. You can only see that the 100-meter high tsunami has risen, and it is like a beast, leaping towards Marineford Square. Even the marine soldier on the square squatted under his feet. Shock fruit is exciting. Whitebeard Edward Newgate. Even if we Marine has an advantage in numbers, don't be arrogant and we will win. Maybe we will lose in the end. That man has the power to destroy the world. With Sengoku's shout. The huge tsunami is sweeping madly. Just now Whitebeard's blow to the air caused this huge tsunami. Need time. The entire Marineford has been surrounded by two huge tsunamis hundreds of meters high, and they rushed towards Marineford with a double team. If these two huge tsunamis are allowed to fall, the entire Marineford will be submerged. Enough to be visible. The strength of Whitebeard, the strongest man in the world. It's a tsunami. What? Run. You will be drowned. Even the entire sky above Marineford Square was blocked by the tsunami, as if the sky was gloomy and there was no sunlight at all. What a terrible power, worthy of a legendary monster. Doflamingo couldn't help but exclaimed. Goo la 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 la. Seeing a tsunami hundreds of meters high in the sky rushing towards the square, even Whitebeard couldn't help laughing wildly, trembling all over. Drown it. Marineford. Goo la 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 la. Suddenly, just at this time, System, Aokiji Kuzan, who was originally sitting on the admiral chair, jumped into the air in an instant, and his figure jumped into the sky. And an icicle was emitted from each of the two hands, and the two icicles protruded toward the tsunami on both sides. Everyone only saw it. These two huge tsunamis condensed into ice immediately from the place where they touched the icicles. And the speed of condensation is getting faster and faster. Ice Age. Gugugugugu. Almost just between breathing, the entire sea surface and two tsunamis have been frozen. Aokiji, you kid. 0. For flowers. Whitebeard looked at Aokiji slightly. Stopped. The tsunami stopped. Saved. It was Kuzan Admiral who made the shot. Marine suddenly cheered. The Zoro trio looked up at Aokiji that had fallen on the ice, and couldn't help gritting their teeth. Because it was Aokiji who captured the three of them. But I have to admit, Aokiji Admiral has extremely strong strength, worthy of being the highest combat power of naval headquarters. Some Marine soldiers couldn't help but shout loudly. We are here with Admiral, who has the highest combat power in naval headquarters. No, that's right, the Whitebeard pirates, there is nothing to be afraid of. Oh, countless Marine soldiers cheered. At this time, the sea surface had become ice, which happened to be a foothold for the Whitebeard pirates. Come on, let's go. It just so happens that this ice surface gives us a good foothold. Let them see how good I am. Come on. Countless pirates rushed down from the Moby Dick and headed for the square. The captains are out. Let's hurry up to meet it. Fight against. Behead all the pirates. Go. With the shouts of the Marines, countless Marines rushed towards the pirates. Marine and the pirate rushed together almost instantly. Boom boom. Chang chang. The sound of artillery fire and the collision of weapons on the ice kept coming. On the execution stage, Ace couldn't help but burst into tears as he watched the scene before him. Everyone, everybody, everyone is just to save me. In spite of the danger of life, he broke into the Marine headquarters. Blame it, blame me. He couldn't help but said with guilt in his heart. But at this time, perhaps the most ugly face is the Zoro trio. The three of them watched the Whitebeard pirate group and Marine rush into a group. In order to save Ace, these pirates risked their lives to fight Marine. 0. But the three of them are like lambs waiting to be slaughtered, they can only wait quietly for the time for execution. Once the execution time comes, then the lives of the three of them will also end. Chang chang. Boom. Boom. Kill all the pirates. Rescue Ace. At all costs, everyone. Boom. Boom. The sound of the pirates fighting with the Marines in front of me filled my ears endlessly. The eyes of the Zoro trio are already full of despair and on the execution stage at this time. Seeing so many pirate boats coming, Ace couldn't help but gritted his teeth and was already moved. Only Zoro, Johnny, and Joseph looked at each other, and their eyes were full of unwillingness. Joseph couldn't help sighing. We haven't made our name resound in the world yet. We failed Master's expectations. Damn its celestial dragons. There was also a trace of regret in Johnny's eyes. We haven't gone to New World to become famous at sea, we are going to die here. I have already thought about the future of the three of us in the New World title. Boss Zoro is called the world's #1 swordsman, then I am Johnny the Sword Master and Joseph the Sword King. But it seems that there is no chance to go to New World. Zoro bowed his head and said nothing. He also has many dreams in his heart. He wants to be the world's #1 swordsman. He wants his name to resound in heaven. But now it seems that I am afraid that everything is about to end. The eyes of the three of them were extremely lonely, and they were already very helpless in their hearts. The only master who can put a little hope in the hearts of the three of them is East Blue, who is still thousands of miles away. Therefore, they can only wait silently for death. Waiting for death to come, this process is undoubtedly very painful. It's like knowing that you are about to die, but you have to face the reality of dying. The three of them have deeply realized this feeling of very helplessness and despair. It is a feeling of powerlessness, unable to control their own life and death. Time passed by every minute and every second. Booming. The battle between Marine and the pirates continues. The Zoro three are welcoming the coming of execution, and are welcoming the coming of death. And at this time, suddenly, Sengoku looked into the sky abruptly, and suddenly frowned and said in surprise, "What is that?" The people present seemed to have discovered something in an instant, and immediately raised their heads and looked into the sky. Only a black spot suddenly appeared in the sky. As the black spots got closer and closer to the ground, the black spots in everyone's eyes quickly began to enlarge. Suddenly someone was surprised. That's a giant, a blue-violet giant. And this blue and purple giant is swooping down. Look, this blue and purple giant is coming. Suddenly. The battlefield suddenly changed. The Marine and the pirates who were fighting stopped unexpectedly and looked up at the blue-violet giant approaching in the sky. What is that? Are you from Marine? Are they the pirates of the Whitebeard pirate group? The Marine and the pirates present were very surprised. Because neither of them knew the blue-violet giant, and it didn't even appear in their plan. Whitebeard raised his head and looked into his eyes with some doubts. Sengoku and Garp looked up, and they didn't even know the blue-violet giant. Finally, hoo-hoo-hoo, accompanied by a huge gust of wind swept through. Boom. The ice cracked and opened. The blue-violet giant swooped to the ground. After standing still, the blue-purple giant dissipated directly, and then revealed a man. When I saw this man with medium and long hair, everyone present, including all Marines and pirates, and even criminals on the execution stage. The audience was silent. 10,000. Chapter 62 Tengai Shinsei. The Power of God. Advertise here. Hoo-hoo-hoo. A man stood proudly on the ice, with short and medium hair fluttering freely in the sea breeze. At this time, the eyes of all the audience were on him, including the residents of Sabayati Archipelago who watched the live video. All the people are already dumbfounded. The man who suddenly appeared at Marineford made everyone feel incredible. Even the forces of Marine and pirates are already very confused. Why will he appear at Marineford? The three Zoro on the execution stage looked at the man who appeared suddenly, and the pupils in their eyes suddenly shrank, revealing an extremely shocking color. When they saw the person coming, the original unyielding eyes finally collapsed. It's like trying to confide in the grievances suffered by the apprentices. Cloud time. The three Zoro had burst into tears. As if to confide all the grievances I have suffered. They finally shouted at the man suddenly. Master. Good. The man is Luo-en. It's been a month since they went to sea. When Zoro and the others met with the master again, they never thought that they were already on the execution stage. The original vigor has long since disappeared. Although the Zoro trio had imagined that Luo-en would come to rescue them, when they were captured by Marine, they were only 2 days away from the date of execution. In terms of time, Master Luo-en is definitely too late to save them. But when the Whitebeard pirates risked their lives to break into Marineford, just to save Ace, who was also a criminal with them. By contrast, it is inevitable that they feel a little lonely and desolate in their hearts. Ace has at least someone to rescue them. But they can only wait for death to come, even if there are all kinds of unwillingness and regret in their hearts, they have completely lost their faith in life. The only Master Luo-en who can put them in hope, Master Luo-en who is thousands of miles away, certainly cannot save them. However, at this time, they never expected that Master Luo-en would turn into a blue-purple giant and land from the sky. In fact, it wasn't just Su Long who didn't expect it. Everyone present never expected it. With a shout of, Master, the three voices broke the silence in an instant. Countless people have already recovered, and their eyes are full of horror. There should be only Marine and the pirate on the battlefield. How come a man who does not belong to Marine or a pirate suddenly appears on the battlefield? Luo-en. It is well known that he is a bounty hunter. In this battlefield between Marine and pirates. But a bounty hunter appeared. When the residents of Sabayati Archipelago saw Luo-en in the video, their eyes were shaken, and they said in horror. Yes, it is Luo-en. This guy has come to Marineford. How is it possible? Shouldn't the bounty hunter Luo-en be a resident of East Blue? The three of Zoro were arrested 2 days ago. Were they rushed from East Blue to Marineford in just 2 days? It's incredible. It should be because of the blue-purple giant just now. That blue-purple giant seems to be able to fly with wings on its back. Marine soldiers on Marineford Square also looked horrified. It's Luo-en, East Blue's bounty hunter Luo-en. It turned out to be him. How could he come to Marineford? No, this is absolutely impossible. It was incredible to arrive at Marineford from East Blue in just 2 days. It must be the blue-purple giant just now. Luo-en he just changed into a blue-purple giant and flew over just after 4:60. Everyone present had already guessed that the reason why Luo-en came to Marineford must be because of the blue-violet giant just now. Just now Luo-en descended from the sky as a blue-purple giant with wings on his back. Obviously, Luo-en is a flying blue and purple giant. Even 7 warlords of the sea cast their gazes towards Luo-en one after another. What a powerful man. Just looking at his eyes, you can feel his horror. Is this the bounty hunter who defeated Hawkeye? Empress Hancock looked at Luo-en in surprise. Howl, is this the strongest bounty hunter Luo-en in the famous sea? Doflamingo looked up and down Luo-en. It looks like he is just a young man in his 20s. Rumor has such a powerful strength. Gecko Moria also laughed and trembled all over. Hey. It's rumored to be a very strong guy. If you can capture his shadow, you will be able to create an extremely powerful super zombie. But having said that, not only was the legendary great pirate Golden Lion beheaded by him, but even Hawkeye was defeated by him. At this time, as predicted, Hawkeye Mihawk's expression has moved slightly. He was defeated by Luo-en in East Blue a month ago, and since then he has been practicing kendo in retreat, and after he has left the gate, he has come to participate in this Marineford war. Originally, he wanted to go to East Blue to find Luo-en again after the war was over. But never thought of it. He was able to meet Luo-en again in Marineford. Pin. The black knife on his back was taken directly off. Mihawk's eyes were once again high-spirited. Only by defeating Luo-en, this man can be counted as the world's #1. Good. Since Hawkeye was defeated by Luo-en, Hawkeye has come down from the strongest throne in the world. He is no longer the #1 in the world. Even the world's #1 swordsman recognized by the sea swordsman has become the bounty hunter Luo-en in front of him. Seeing Mihawk drawing his sword at this moment seemed to be eager to try. The other Shichibukai present couldn't help but move slightly. Even a man like Hawkeye looks so excited when he sees Luo-en. Howl, whistle, sure enough, this guy Luo-en really gets a lot of attention. Hey, I really want his shadow, even his corpse is fine. It's not just Shichibukai who noticed Luo-en. Marine's 3rd Admiral also frowned. Ah la la, the apprentice was publicly executed. As the master, Luo-en came to rescue. Aokiji stood on the ice and looked at Luo-en carefully. Below the execution platform, Kizaru's face has changed a bit. It's terrible. I just had a fight with her at East Blue 2 days ago. Today, 2 days later, I was able to see him at Marineford. How many abilities does this guy have? Heard these words. Akainu can't stand it anymore. Poor Salino. Akainu couldn't help but said coldly, you were defeated by such a young man. It's really a shame for Marine. Sakazuki, now is your chance to show it. Kizaru joked, if you think you can do it, I look forward to you defeating this guy. HMPH, take a good look, if he dares to try to save these 3 criminals, I will definitely execute him personally. Akainu has sufficient confidence in his own strength. But Kizaru just spread his hands, his eyes full of jokes. It's terrible, Sakazuki, then wait for you to show it. On the execution stage, Garp couldn't help but reveal a hint of surprise. I wanted to go to East Blue to meet this guy. Today he came to Marineford. What a surprise. It only took 2 days to get to Marineford from East Blue. That ability to transform into a blue-purple giant is Devil Fruit's power. Sengoku also gritted his teeth. Cold sweat was already on his forehead. The appearance of Luo-en. It completely surpassed everyone's expectations. Even if he was Marine the resourceful General Sengoku, he did not expect Luo-en to arrive at Marineford in just 2 days. And it still appeared in Marineford under the eyes of the public. He gritted his teeth and said solemnly, I made a mistake. I thought he wouldn't be able to get to Marineford in 2 days. What is the ability that can turn into a blue-violet giant to fly? Is it Devil Fruit's ability? It seems that Marine doesn't know Luo-en, he doesn't know what kind of abilities he has. It was this guy who killed Golden Lion Shiki. His strength is really unfathomable. Aboard the Moby Dick, Whitebeard and Marco looked at Luo-en in this way. Goo la 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 la. As this Luo-en, the strongest bounty hunter on the sea. It looks like he is just a brat, and he can kill the Golden Lion Shiki. And today I dared to break into Marineford alone. It seems that his strength is indeed as powerful as the rumors. Marco also responded, yes, Daddy, just seeing his eyes makes people feel that he is very difficult. Moreover, the blue-purple giant just now doesn't seem to be something that can be changed by humans. According to the source, Luo-en was in East Blue 2 days ago, but he arrived at Marineford from East Blue in just 2 days. It's incredible. With that blue-violet giant, he flew to Marineford in just 2 days. It is true. Everyone present was extremely shocked. They never thought that Luo-en could reach Marineford in just 2 days. And it's a way of transforming into a giant to fly. Today is also the first time everyone saw Luo-en himself. Before, I had only heard about the bounty hunter Luo-en in the newspaper. Only today, the living Luo-en stood on the ice in this bay. When they saw Luo-en, they were instantly attracted by his arrogant attitude. Even countless marines and pirates stopped fighting and cast their eyes on Luo-en. At this time, Luo-en, a bounty hunter who suddenly appeared, has become the focus of the audience and has become the most eye-catching person. Even the video phone bug gave Luo-en a close-up shot. Even the residents of Sabayati Archipelago can clearly see Luo N's resolute and extremely handsome face, as well as his standing proudly. Master. The three Zoro on the execution stage. He even shouted again in a loud voice, extremely moved. Originally, Zoro and the others watched the Whitebeard pirates come to rescue Ace, but they were helpless, thinking they were abandoned people. But never thought of it. My master arrived at Marineford from East Blue not too far away, and arrived in just 2 days. Need time. The three Zoro had tears in their eyes, and their hearts were completely occupied by moving emotions. Johnny and Joseph cried bitterly. Master, we have failed your expectations. We made you come to Marineford on a personal risk. It was obviously the celestial dragons who shot us first, so we killed him. This is obviously not our fault, but Marine is going to execute us publicly. Johnny and Joseph cried like children about their grievances and injustices. At the time of Sabayati Archipelago, obviously it was the celestial dragons who shot them first, but they just counterattacked. But never thought of it. They will provoke celestial dragons, the nobles of the world, and they will be arrested by Marine Admiral, and they are still in public execution today. How wrong and unwilling is this? Even Luo N is obviously only a few years older than them. But at this time they are like children, confiding their unwillingness to Luo N, who is only in their 20s. Zoro couldn't help but shout. All right, Johnny, Joseph. What do you cry like? In the crowd, don't shame master. Heard these words. Then Johnny and Joseph stopped sobbing. I'm sorry, Boss Zoro. We are so excited. Master, he rushed from East Blue to Marineford not far away. Moreover, it is clearly not our fault, but we are going to kneel here and be publicly executed. It is too wronged. In fact, even Zoro's eyes were a little bit of tears. The moment Zoro saw Luo N coming, his whole mind was completely stunned, and he never thought that Master Luo N would actually appear at Marineford. At this time, Luo N stands proudly on the ice, his eyes are not angry and majestic, as if he has a spleen in the world. This is the temperament that belongs to the strong. Everyone present knew at a glance that Luo N must be a well-deserved strong. However, Luo N looked up slightly, and first looked at the three Zoro on the execution stage. Zoro, Johnny, Joseph, hear the shout of the master. The three Zoro immediately responded. Master. They clenched their teeth tightly, and their hearts were shocked. But Luo N continued to say, I already knew what you did when I was in East Blue. Did you kill celestial dragons? Master, we are the one who caused you. This matter has nothing to do with you. Although we are indeed very unwilling, but still don't want to involve you in the address. Obviously it was the celestial dragons who shot us first. We just shot back, but they also want to explain. However, Luo N slightly raised his hand and said proudly. I've heard about everything after you went to sea. The strength has improved very quickly, even Shichibukai's sand crocodile is not your opponent. As for the killing of celestial dragons, I think the three of you did nothing wrong. The voice fell. All the people present suddenly boiled. What is it that they are not wrong? There is nothing wrong with killing celestial dragons. So Luo N recognized what Zoro did. Zoro and the others killed celestial dragons. Isn't that wrong? Celestial dragons is a nobleman in the world. It is absolutely forbidden to be offended by others. And Marine's military regulations also set up such a rule. Celestial dragons are the supreme nobles in the world. This guy Luo N, what is he talking about? It is true that killing celestial dragons is publicly said. Is this publicly provoking the world government? Countless Marine soldiers were dumbfounded, even wondering if Luo N was crazy. Luo N said in front of so many people that it was not wrong to kill celestial dragons. The countless residents of Sabayati Archipelago who were watching this live video were also shocked instantly. Luo N said that Zoro is not wrong. Zoro and the others killed celestial dragons, so Luo N is blatantly provoking the world government. What a strong courage. Only such a strong person dare to provoke the world government openly, right? I heard that the world government has targeted Luo N, and even dispatched Admiral to capture Luo N. It's incredible. There are even some people who can't help but rant. Luo N dare to provoke the authority of the world government in public. But it looks so refreshing. Those damn it celestial dragons should be damned. Shish. Obviously. The local residents also hate celestial dragons. But those who dare to provoke the world government in front of the whole world like this, I am afraid that only Luo N dares to do so in this era. The last person who dared to provoke the world government celestial dragons in front of the whole world was the pirate named Rox. Howl, howl, whistle and whistle, it's really interesting. Doflamingo couldn't help but said in a deep voice, isn't it wrong to kill celestial dragons? As expected, he is a man who likes chaos like his apprentices. Gecko Moria also said solemnly. Hey. This is in Marineford, Marine headquarters. Luo N he dare to say that killing celestial dragons is not wrong. It seems that Luo N doesn't want to live anymore. Hey. The most stunned expression was the Empress Hancock. Because Hancock had also been a slave of celestial dragons back then, she also hated celestial dragons extremely in her heart. At this moment, I heard Luo N say these words. Her heart was immediately shocked. He even said with surprise in his heart, What a courageous man. Although this bounty hunter named Luo En is a man, the concubine doesn't hate him at all. Hancock today. He started to look at Luo En with great interest, and some inexplicable feelings had already developed in his heart. Hawkeye Mihawk still holds the black knife in the night, still looking eager to try. ... All the people present were shocked by Luo En's words. Garp seemed disapproving. How dare you say this in public? Even an old man is inconvenient to say that. Damn it. Luo En. What did you say? There is nothing wrong with killing celestial dragons. Even Marshal Sengoku was already angry with the veins on his forehead. As the Marshal of Marine, Sengoku naturally also has a pivotal position, and he is also under the regular jurisdiction of the celestial dragon's world. At this time, I heard Luo En actually said that there was nothing wrong with killing celestial dragons. This was undoubtedly slapped him severely in front of everyone. Make him faceless as Marshal Marine. On the ice in the bay. Luo En turned around, then looked up at Sengoku on the execution stage. Cloud time. The two looked at each other without giving way. Sengoku. With Luo En's joking voice came. Everyone's heart was shocked, and they turned their eyes to Luo En again. Hearing Luo En yelling to himself, Sengoku yelled back not to be outdone. Luo En. There seems to be a tit for tat between the strongest bounty hunter and Marine's marshal. Marine and the pirates who were present had already stopped fighting, and everyone focused on Luo En. Sudden changes. No one can imagine that Luo En will come to Marineford. At this moment, Luo En stood proudly on the ice like this, his eyes diametrically opposed to Marshal Sengoku. Finally, however, Luo En's face suddenly appeared mocking and contemptuous. After my apprentices killed celestial dragons, not only did you send Admiral to capture our apprentices, but you also sent Pelusolino to East Blue to try to capture me. These are all orders from the world government, right? Sengoku, you really are a dog raised by the world government. The voice fell. Need time. The audience is silent. I just said that killing celestial dragons was correct, and now I am mocking Sengoku as a dog raised by the world government. And listening to Luo En's tone, he was completely defending his apprentices. The three Zoro looked at each other and were overjoyed. This is Luo En publicly acknowledging the identity of the three of them. This is the first time Luo En admits that they are Luo En's apprentices. Master him. Master recognized our identity. Master, he finally recognizes our identity. The Zoro trio instantly became excited. Recognized by Master. It is one of their wish as apprentices. And they recognized their apprenticeship in front of the whole world. How can this not be excited? But at this time, the sudden blue veins on Sengoku's face seemed to be angered. Luo En publicly provoked the world government twice, and even provoked Sengoku publicly twice. It has made him unable to contain it anymore. Asshole. You guy, I came to Marineford specifically to rescue your apprentice, right? If you have the ability, just try it. Immediately. Sengoku again ordered. All Marine, look at Luo En as our enemy. Never allow such a guy to save his apprentice. As his voice fell. Numerous Marines looked at each other first, then raised their arms and shouted. Oh, as Marine, obeying orders is a bounden duty. For a time, as Luo En's two provocative words fell, he was already standing on the opposite side of Marine. Whitebeard stared at Luo En. The eyes of the three Marine admiral narrowed slightly. 5-7 warlords of the sea are also looking at Luo En, looking at this man who dares to provoke the world government. Marine soldiers, pirates, and all residents including Sabayati Archipelago all looked at Luo En in awe. Openly provoke the world government in front of the whole world. Enough to see the courage of Luo En. Garp couldn't help muttering to himself. When I saw Luo En. Let the old man think of a person, that is rocks back then. I am afraid that only such a strong and conceited guy can dare to say such words in public. It is true. Dare to humiliate Marshal Marine twice in public and provoke the authority of the world government. Only those who are truly capable and conceited dare to do so. And without a doubt, Luo En nowadays has no longer the leisurely and free look that was when he was on Gal Island. On the contrary, it is a Hawkeye who has a spleen all over the world. All the people present were moved. Even when Whitebeard saw Luo En, he couldn't help but think of Captain Rocks back then. Stock la 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 la. Bounty hunter Luo En, really so powerful. It's really like that man. Whitebeard couldn't help but said. Unexpectedly, even if Marshal Sengoku has given a death order, all Marines will regard Luo En as an enemy. But Luo En didn't care at all. Since he dared to come to the Marine headquarters Marineford alone, Luo En was naturally prepared to be the enemy of Marine and even the world government. I only heard Luo En's joking smile and said, interesting. Sengoku, do you want to stop me from saving the apprentices? You are naive. Need time. A killing intent instantly diffused towards the surroundings. Luo En's eyes moved slightly, and he looked at Marshal Sengoku on the execution stage provocatively. At this time, even Marshal Sengoku couldn't help frowning. Although Marine doesn't know much about Luo En's deeds. But one move defeated Mihawk Hawkeye, killed the legendary great pirate Golden Lion Shiki, and beat Marine Admiral Kizaru. These deeds seem. It is enough to show that Luo En has extraordinary strength. The strongest bounty hunter is about to take action. Attention all Marines. You must stop this guy. Sengoku once again took the phone worm and gave the order. Master. The Zoro trio shouted again. It was originally the home field of the Whitebeard pirates, but now it has become the home field of Luo-En. And all this. It was all because the Zoro three were caught by Marine for public execution, so Master Luo-En stood on the opposite side of Marine and the world government. Therefore, the three Zoro's hearts are extremely ashamed at this time. The Zoro trio believed that it was them that caused Luo-En to fall into such a situation. After all, Master was originally just a person who likes leisure and freedom. But now, Luo-En went to Marineford alone. It seems to face the whole Marine alone. At this time, some pirates couldn't help but start talking. Look at Luo-En and Marine are already on the same level. Do you think Luo-En will become our pirate group's helper? With his help, we have a better chance of rescuing Ace. Yes, if Luo-En also helps us, there must be a greater chance to rescue Ace. Pirates at this time, some people have guessed that, thinking that Luo-En can be their helper. But Marco and the captain immediately dispelled their thoughts. What are you thinking about? The relationship between the bounty hunter and the pirate is also hostile, and we still have to rely on ourselves to rescue Ace. Since a strong man like Luo-En dares to break into Marine headquarters Marineford alone, he will definitely not cooperate with others. Hear the captain's words. The pirates suddenly felt a little lost. But that is true. Why does a bounty hunter help the pirates? What's more, the Whitebeard pirates and Luo-En are not related to each other. Certainly, Luo-En will not help the pirates, his purpose is to come to Marineford and rescue the three of Zoro. As for the result of Ace, this has nothing to do with Luo-En. At this time, the killing intent released by Luo-En has filled the surrounding area, and the surrounding Marines and pirates were shocked. Zoro, Johnny, Joseph. Do not be afraid, here's to save you. The voice fell, but seeing Luo-En squint his eyes slightly and then open them again, his eyes have turned into purple swirling Rinnegan. And his hands are printed in front of him. See this scene. Sengoku suddenly said in amazement. The strongest bounty hunter is about to take action. Attention everyone. Don't stop him. The voice fell. The Marine soldiers around also reacted immediately. Come on, kill Luo-En. Many Marine soldiers rushed towards Luo-En. Upon seeing this, the pirates also shouted. 2.6 inches seized the opportunity to break into the bay of Marineford. Rescue Ace. Let's rush too. Need time. Marine and the pirates fought again, and some Marine soldiers even rushed towards Luo-En. And Luo-En couldn't help but smile contemptuously. Ordinary Marine soldiers are as weak as building ants in Luo-En's eyes. Susano. With the voice falling, only see the blue-violet giant half-length above Luo-En's head again. Bang bang bang. With countless guns attacking the giant, they couldn't hurt Luo-En who was protected by the giant at all. What? Our attack is completely ineffective against him. What does this guy want to do? Everyone present was very puzzled. Even Sengoku didn't know the purpose of Luo-En, he just looked at Luo-En seriously. But inexplicably feel something is wrong in my heart. 3 Admiral and 5 Shichibukai. They all stared at Luo-En, and they were a little confused, not knowing what Luo-En wanted to do. Summoned this blue and purple giant again. What does Luo-En want to do? Is it just to defend against attacks? Do not know. All Marine soldiers and residents of Sabayati Archipelago were all talking about it. Doflamingo's eyes are slightly wrinkled. Luo-En this guy. But it really brings a lot of surprises. Hurry up and the world is in chaos. Howl, howl, howl. Gecko Moria still showed a greedy look. What a strong sense of oppression. I really want to get his shadow or corpse. Hehehehehe. Empress Hancock is still looking at Luo-En. Have you summoned the blue and purple giant again? What does this man want to do? Even Mihawk's eyes moved slightly. At this time, countless strong men looked at Luo-En who had already used Susano. Whitebeard has been covered by observation hockey and can't help but be surprised. Goo la 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 la. This kid is really terrifying. He wants to attack Marine. It is true, only seeing the corner of Luo-En's mouth lifted up with a wicked smile. Sengoku. Just arrived. Just give you a present. Then he made seals with both hands, and Susano on the top of his head also stretched out his hands to make seals with Luo-En. What is he going to do? Sengoku felt that something was wrong. Even Garp was very confused. All the strong guys on the scene stared at Luo-En, and they didn't know what Luo-En wanted to do. Finally, finished printing. But Luo-En smiled coldly. Tengai Shinsei, with a violent drink from his mouth. Suddenly, the sky at Marineford became gloomy for an instant. Marine's battle with the pirates stopped again, and they all looked up into the sky. Gulong. A Marine soldier swallowed a mouthful of saliva when he saw the sky, and even looked dumbfounded. The saliva also left directly from his mouth. Everyone present, including the big powers, had already looked up at the gloomy sky at this time. Then there was a chill from the spine to ultimate. Ah, this is. No, isn't it? It's not a level at all. Is this the power of God? As the sky became gloomy in an instant, the scene in the sky shocked everyone. This is a force beyond their cognition. Chapter 63 The shots of the 6 powerful Marines and pirates. Advertise here. Marineford. On the square. Asshole. How is it possible? What the hell is this? Our strength is not in the same dimension. The power of God. Countless people looked up at the sky with stunned faces, and the color of horror in their eyes was completely beyond the reach. Even when someone looked at the scene in the sky, even the weapon in his hand fell directly to the ground, and his face was full of despair and fear. His face was full of hunting colors. Even 7 warlords of the sea, everyone sweats on their foreheads. The 3 admiral frowned. When Sengoku looked at the sky, his pupils suddenly shrank, and his face was full of horror. Even Garp and Whitebeard's presence at the ceiling level of combat power, at this time, clenched their teeth and watched this scene in disbelief. Originally, the sky of Marineford Island was shining with sunshine. But at this time, the sky is already black. Everyone present looked up and saw. An extremely huge meteorite broke through the clouds in the sky, and then appeared over Marineford. The size of this Tengai Shinsei is equivalent to half the size of Marineford Island. It almost obscured the sky, and almost completely blocked the sun in the sky, which made Marineford instantly cloudy. Everyone was shocked. Meteorite, how come? Is this the ability of Luo-En? This meteorite is large enough to cover half of Marineford Island. Once you come down again, the entire island will sink. There is no way to escape. A huge meteorite falling slowly in the sky, the size of this meteorite is even enough to cover half of Marineford. Just look up into the sky. The extremely powerful sense of breathing makes everyone feel a little breathless. Immediately afterwards, there were people sitting directly on the ground, with a look of despair in their eyes. Such a huge meteorite has far exceeded their cognition. The residents of Sabayati Archipelago are already panicked. Even looking at the meteorite in the image, they can feel a sense of breathing. What is that? A meteorite is actually a meteorite. It is a meteorite enough to sink Marineford. It turned out to be a meteorite summoned by Luo-En. Is he still a human? This is simply the power of a god. How can human beings achieve this level? They all stared at the scene in the live video. Even if you are in the Sabayati Archipelago, you can imagine what kind of attack Marineford is under. Look at it, Marineford's direction. With one person yelled in surprise. Everyone looked up in the direction of Marineford. I only saw in the distant sky, there was indeed a huge meteorite, normally falling towards the ground. Even if they are far apart, they can still feel how destructive this meteorite is. If it really falls directly on Marineford Square, the entire island must be defeated. Whether it's a marine or a pirate, everyone on the island must die terribly. Marineford. Countless people looked up at the meteorite falling slowly in the sky, and their hearts were completely filled with fear and despair. It is said that Whitebeard has the power to destroy the world. The tsunami caused by the shock of the previous 09 almost directly submerged the entire Marineford. What about Luo-En? The meteorite that is slowly falling in the sky can also sink Marineford in one blow. Everyone understands this. Once this meteorite falls on Marineford, all marines and pirates on the scene will suffer heavy casualties. Luo-En this trick. It is completely indiscriminate attack. Meteorite. The meteorite has fallen. What should I do? There is no way to escape. Even though there are already many people present who are willing to retreat, but there is no way to retreat. Under this meteorite capable of destroying Marineford, everything will be destroyed. I am afraid that only a small number of people will survive. It's not just marine soldiers. Even the pirates felt terrified. Luo-En is the same as the old man, he also has the power to destroy the world. As this devil fruit's ability. But this is too far beyond ordinary people's perception, right? Sure enough, you shouldn't have the idea of cooperating with Luo-En, this guy actually attacked indiscriminately. Even Whitebeard looked at the sky, his expression had changed slightly, and he was no longer as calm as before. Whitebeard is called the strongest man in the world. But now it seems that the strength of the bounty hunter Luo-En is not at all weaker than Whitebeard. A meteorite falling in the sky, what kind of method is this? Luo-En also has the power to destroy the world. Countless people present said in shock. Their faces are already full of despair, and they can even imagine the scene where they were killed by a meteorite. Fear, shock, despair, unwilling, all kinds of emotions are mixed together, and everyone's heart has been feared to the extreme. That man, you can't describe him even with a monster. Such an indiscriminate attack is to destroy the island of Marineford, right? It's a devil. On the execution stage, the looks of Sengoku and Garp are already very ugly. The sudden appearance of such a scene really affects morale too much. Even the current marine soldiers and pirates have lost their fighting spirit, and they just looked up helplessly at the huge meteorite falling slowly in the sky. Only those who feel excited. There were only 3 Zoro on the entire battlefield. Seeing Luo-En summon such a huge meteorite, their hearts were already full of shock. Master. It's the master's ability. Master. He is not only a powerful swordsman, but he also possesses such means. Even Zoro and the others have never seen Luo-En use such a move. Booming. There was a sudden violent roar in the sky. The meteorite is falling towards Marineford. What to do? This is totally irresistible. I can't compete with human power at all. Both the marine soldiers and the pirates felt terrified. They had completely lost their fighting spirit in their hearts. What are you hitting? What is there to fight? When this meteorite falls, everyone has to finish playing. Finally, see the situation is wrong. Sengoku immediately commanded. It's not over yet. What discouragement to say. Are you already planning to abandon your lives for nothing? Just let the meteorite fall like this. Find a way to do something within your power. Hear Sengoku's morale-boosting words. There was more color in the eyes of the soldiers present. But when I saw the huge meteorite falling in the sky, a sense of powerlessness had already spontaneously emerged. With our strength, how can I stop such a meteorite? It's over. It's over. Hear the prophecies of these people so decadent. I think this meteorite has already defeated countless people's psychological defenses. Sengoku first glanced hard at Luo-en. Then immediately ordered. Admiral, Shichibukai, protect Marineford. Smash the meteorite. As his voice fell, Kizaru and Akainu got up from their seats, and then jumped up to the ice and stood with Aokiji. The three admiral all looked up at the sky. The 5-7 warlords of the sea also looked at each other, but they didn't act immediately. After all, Shichibukai belonged directly to the world government and did not obey naval headquarters, so they chose to wait and see. Luo-en and Sengoku faced each other, and the corners of his mouth raised to reveal a playful look. Sengoku couldn't help but mutter to himself in anger. Luo-en bastard. Just because of his sudden appearance. My plan to deal with the Whitebeard pirates has been completely disrupted. Even the three admiral were sent directly. It is true. In order to resist this meteorite, Sengoku directly dispatched the three admiral of the naval headquarters, the most powerful. On the ice at this time, the three admiral all looked up at the meteorite in the sky. It's really scary. Kizaru still spread his hands with a wretched expression. If this meteorite falls, under such an indiscriminate attack, even Luo-en himself will be attacked by the meteorite, right? Aokiji also waved lazily. Alala, Mr. Sengoku actually sent you both out. It seems that Luo-en alone seems to be more difficult than the Whitebeard pirates. Smash this meteorite first, otherwise the entire Marineford will be destroyed. Akainu frowned and said coldly. Finally, the marine soldiers present had already seen three admirals standing by, and they were immediately excited. Admirals with the highest combat power in naval headquarters. Admiral all did it themselves. As long as the admiral people take the initiative, everything will be resolved. The three admirals of Marine represent the highest combat power of Marine, and they are also the most trusted existence in the minds of all Marine soldiers. Hoo. Such a huge meteorite in the sky is falling, and it is getting closer and closer to the ground. Just at this time, do it. Admiral Akainu leapt suddenly, stepping on the moonwalk, one of the Marine 6 styles, and flew into the sky. Aokiji also stepped on moonwalk and followed closely behind. Only Kizaru directly turned into a beam of yellow light and had already come under the meteorite. Bakichang Guyu. It was Kizaru who attacked the meteorite in the sky first. Only seeing him folded his hands in front of him, a yellow light curtain appeared, and countless light bullets quickly flew towards the meteorite. Boom boom boom. The light bomb hits the meteorite without interruption. Numerous deep craters appeared on the surface of the meteorite, and the momentum of the meteorite's landing has also been somewhat slowed down. But obviously, Kizaru's attack alone cannot prevent the meteorite from falling. Super. The pheasant mouth. Aokiji condensed the cold air on his right arm, and then waved towards the meteorite in the sky. In a short time, a huge ice bird of 100 meters long slammed into the meteorite. Boom. The ice bird, which had been covered with armed colors, directly bombarded the meteorite, and even slight cracks appeared on the meteorite. Isn't it enough? This is Aokiji's strongest single attack skill, but it still can't crush this huge meteorite. Let me do it. At this time, Akainu had already stepped on the moonwalk and came into the air. As Logia's strongest lava fruit ability, Akainu's attacks are extremely destructive. Just watch that Akainu has raised his right arm. The fiery red lava on the right arm came out, and then turned into a huge lava arm composed of lava. This lava arm is 100 meters in size. Although it is nothing compared to the meteorites in the sky, the destructive power of this lava arm is extremely powerful. Great eruption. Akainu brazenly waved the lava arm towards the meteorite in midair. Boom. Accompanied by a deafening sound. What? A violent shout came from Akainu's mouth. Break it for me. Cracks have appeared on the original meteorite. Then accompanied by Akainu's 100-meter-sized lava arm suddenly smashed out. Boom. Need time. But watching Akainu gritted his teeth as hard as he could, even his body began to tremble. What? Kizaru's 8 feet Chongu still shot towards the meteorite in the sky, and Aokiji released the pheasant's mouth again. Finally under the combined attack of the three. Boom. Accompanied by a loud noise. The meteorite in the sky started to crack and open. Boom. Akainu's lava arm has been heavily resisted under the meteorite, and once again instantly exerted force. Even the entire face's arms collided again. What? Boom. The meteorite was finally penetrated by Akainu's great eruption, and the huge meteorite broke apart, turning into countless small meteorites with a diameter of tens of meters. Countless small meteorites fell towards the ground again. What? It's not over yet. The big meteorite broke into small meteorites and smashed down. Run away. Countless people shouted, seeing countless small meteorites falling toward the ground in midair. Step to step. Only heard the sound of rapid footsteps. Hawkeye Micah instantly jumped into the air, and then held the black sword in both hands and slammed it out. Boom. An extremely powerful sword aura was released instantly. Suddenly, under the raging sword energy, many small meteorites were instantly stirred into children's powder. Hush pressure gun. And just now, Bartholomew Kuma has also shot. Just look at the countless pressure guns launched from his hands, each pressure gun is in the form of a bear hull. And those pressure guns were accurately blasted toward the small meteorite falling in the sky. Boom boom boom. Many small meteorites were attacked by pressure guns, burst open directly in the air, and turned into powder again. Goo la 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 la. Small meteorites. Can't hurt my sons. Even Whitebeard watched these small meteorites and smashed them down at his sons. To protect his sons, Whitebeard immediately clenched a fist with one hand, a white air pressure suddenly appeared in his hand, and then he slammed directly into the sky. Boom. The air seemed to be torn apart. Whitebeard activated the power of shock fruit again, which caused the air to vibrate. I only saw countless small meteorites that fell in the sky, and they were shocked into children's powder directly in the air. To know in the original work, the air shock caused by Whitebeard almost destroyed Marineford directly, and in the end it was the three admiral who took the shot together to block it with armed colors. And this time, Whitebeard uses air vibrations to directly attack small meteorites in the sky, and naturally smashes all these meteorites. Finally, first, the three admiral from Marine took the shot and smashed this huge meteorite and turned it into countless small meteorites. Then Shichibukai's Hawkeye and Bartholomew Kuma each made their own moves, which destroyed almost half of the small meteorites. Finally, in order to protect his sons, Whitebeard, as a pirate, threw his fist to cause air vibrations and directly destroyed the remaining small meteorites. Whirring whirring. As the animal powder fell on the ground, endless dust was splashed. But although everyone present finally breathed a sigh of relief, their eyes were already full of immense shock and horror. Three admiral from Marine, Hawkeye Mihawk and Bartholomew Kuma in 7 warlords of the sea. Even Whitebeard shot. These 6 powerhouses took action and finally smashed this meteorite completely. That guy Luo N. Type. His strength is too terrifying, right? It is true. Although the meteorite had been crushed, the people present did not dare to breathe a sigh of relief. The 6 strong men took the shot to completely crush the meteorite. It is enough to see how powerful this meteorite is. Step to step, the 3 admiral of Akainu Aokiji Kizaru landed in the square. Hawkeye Mihawk and Bartholomew Kuma have also settled. Whitebeard's eyes were also full of seriousness. Everyone on the scene once again looked at Luo N, who was covered by the blue-purple giant on the ice in the bay. The eyes of countless people are full of jealousy. In the endless smoke of gunpowder, the blue-violet giant still stands tall, and Luo N's whole body is wrapped under the blue-violet giant. What kind of terrifying ability is this? Summon a meteorite capable of destroying Marineford. Luo N is too scary, right? Even the title of monster can't describe him. Finally, the blue-purple giant dissipated. Luo N himself still stands proudly. It seems, neither of you like it. I gave this gift. He looked at Sengoku playfully. Sengoku was already pale. Shouldn't today's day of execution be a war with the Whitebeard pirates? How did it become a battle between Marine and Luo N? Misunderstanding. If I had expected Luo N to appear at Marineford, there won't be this kind of result. Sengoku analyzed this way. But Ms. He came over. You are not to blame for this. It's our Marine who knows too little about Luo N. I'm afraid no one would have thought that Luo N is the protagonist of today's Marineford war. It is true. No one can imagine that Luo N arrived at Marineford from East Blue within 2 days. No one can imagine that Luo N is so powerful that it can summon a meteorite close to half the size of Marineford Island. The strength of Luo N exceeded everyone's imagination. Even the resourceful General Sengoku, even Marine Chief of Staff Ms. Crane, or even 5 elders of the world government. No one could have imagined that this would happen on the day of execution today. What happened today surpassed everyone's expectations. Ah la la, Aokiji said lazily, I finally blocked this meteorite. Kizaru's tone no longer ridicules. On the contrary, the words are full of seriousness. Unexpectedly, a total of 6 people from the Marine pirates took action and completely blocked the meteorite. Although I played against Luo N on Gal Island in East Blue, I have never seen him move like this. It's really scary. Sakazuki, do you still think you can defeat Luo N by your own strength? After hearing these words, Akainu couldn't help snorting coldly. It's just a meteorite summoned. If it's solo, I might not be his opponent. Even after seeing a spectacular scene like Tengai Shinsei with his own eyes, Akainu is still very confident of his own strength. It is true. This meteorite seemed to be just summoned by Luo N, and Luo N 463 himself did not really fight these strong men. Therefore, Akainu still has confidence. The residents of Sabayati Archipelago saw this scene through live video, and they finally breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Admiral and Shichibukai have made a move. Moreover, in order to protect the pirates, Whitebeard also shot down those small meteorites. Otherwise, Marineford would at least die tens of thousands. Has Luo N alone forced the 6 powerful players to take action? This guy is too scary, right? Everyone watched the live broadcast in the video. They all felt a chill in their backs. Although the meteorite has been smashed, everyone still has lingering fears. Just imagine. If the meteorite hits Marineford Square, countless people will die by then. And this meteorite still attacks indiscriminately. All people on the Marineford battlefield, whether they are marine or pirates, will be affected by this meteorite's attack. For these ordinary people, those pirates would die if they died, but if Marine also suffered heavy losses, this is undoubtedly not good news. See the meteorite crushed at this time. These ordinary people couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. Marineford Plaza. On the execution stage, Marshal Sengoku looked at Luo En with an iron face. Luo En. This bastard unexpectedly disrupted my overall plan. Originally, he had already made plans to deal with the Whitebeard pirates, but at this time, the arrival of Luo En has caused a total chaos. It seems that the protagonist of this war is neither the Marine nor the Whitebeard pirates, but the bounty hunter Luo En from East Blue. It is true. The Whitebeard pirates and Marine had already started a war, but because of the arrival of Luo En, the war between the two sides was temporarily suspended. And since the moment Luo En came to Marineford, everyone in the audience focused on him. Even Marshal Marine, even Marine Admiral, even Whitebeard, who was called the strongest man in the world. They were all overshadowed by Luo En. On the ice in the bay. Wow. The sea breeze blew over Luo En's clothes coldly, and the short and medium hair was also fluttering in the sea breeze. Although the Tengai Shinsei just now consumed a lot of his energy. But at this time Luo En stands proudly in the sea breeze. Such as baked eyes show the posture of looking at the world, which is completely different from the leisurely and relaxed posture in normal days. Whether it was Marine or the pirates around him, they didn't dare to approach him at all, as if they were afraid that Luo En would be killed if they provoke Luo En. And Luo En doesn't bother to control other people. He came to Marineford this time for only one purpose, and that was to rescue the three of Zoro. Immediately looked up at the execution platform. Sengoku's forehead is already sweating cold. He deserves Luo En today is determined to save the Zoro 3. There were a total of 4 criminals on the execution platform. At first everyone thought that the fuse of today's war should be Ace, the son of one pirate. The Whitebeard pirates came to save Ace. But never thought of it. It turns out that the 3 Zoro talents who killed celestial dragons were the real fuse, and they actually attracted East Blue's strongest bounty hunter Luo En. Sengoku, I am here today just to rescue my apprentices. Are you sure you want to stop me? There is also a threatening tone in Luo En's words. Since the trick of Tengai Shinsei just now, Luo En's strength has already shocked countless people, and even made countless people feel terrified. However, today it is live video, and there are more than 100,000 people on the scene. As Marshal Marine, he represents the majesty of marine justice and the facade of the world government. How could it be possible that Luo En chose to compromise with just one sentence? Sengoku waved his hand. Then the decisive rebuke said. The dignity and justice of marine and world government will never allow you to trample on them. Come on, Luo En. Even if a war with you breaks out because of this, we will not hesitate. Such similar words, Sengoku also said to Whitebeard before. Suddenly, the rattling atmosphere spread out again. Luo En also narrowed his eyes, and directly held Ryujin Jaka on his waist. Adjacent. Slowly pull out Ryujin Jaka. Luo En's low voice also came slowly. Will you go to war with me? Interesting. In that case. Then just come. Chapter 64. Hold on a moment, I'm here to rescue you. Advertise here. At this time, on ice, Luo En has slowly pulled out Ryujin Jaka, and then pointed at the ground diagonally. His expression is extremely serious. In order to punish the 3 of Sulong, Marine did not hesitate to go to war with himself. That being the case, that's nothing to say. Although Ryujin Jaka did not perform Shikai in his hand, the power emanating from the blade made people shudder. Kizaru looked at Ryujin Jaka in Luo En's hand and couldn't help but said in a deep voice. I remember this knife seemed to be able to release flames. Even Ba Kai Chong Guyu was resolved by him. It's terrible. Hear Kizaru's introduction. Akainu and Aokiji couldn't help but look twice. No doubt, since the trick of Tengai Shinsei just now, the strength of Luo En deserves to be taken seriously by the people present. So Luo En wants to save the 3 criminals on the execution stage, so Marine has already regarded Luo En as an enemy. Finally, Luo En looked at the direction of the execution platform. Then he spoke again. Zoro, Johnny, Joseph. Wait a minute. I'm here to save you. Step to step, with the voice falling. Luo En stepped forward and walked towards the execution platform, because the 3 criminals on the execution platform were the people he wanted to save during this trip. Step on. Although his pace is not fast. But every step is extremely calm and powerful. Everyone around him took a few steps back and didn't dare to approach Luo En within 10 meters of his body, as if they were afraid to provoke him. Sengoku on the execution stage suddenly narrowed his eyes. Luo En, this guy, is he going to rush all the way from the bay to the execution stand? It seems that the war between Marine and Luo En has been unavoidable. He couldn't help but sigh heavily. And just now. Luo En walked slowly in the direction of the execution platform, as if there was no one beside him. He didn't even look at the people around him. However, a marine giant vice admiral has quietly arrived at Luo En's side, and then suddenly raised the giant axe in his hand and slashed towards Luo En. There is a flaw. With the voice falling, this giant vice admiral named Ronsa, holding a giant axe in his hand, has slashed towards Luo-en, even he thought he had discovered the flaw in Luo-en. Unexpectedly, Luo-en's observation Hawkeye had already captured him. Wait until the giant axe in Ronsa's hand is smashed. Luo-en's figure flickered suddenly, and he escaped the blow in an instant, and then Ryujin Jaka swung directly. A burst of blood spurted. The head of the giant vice admiral Ronsa was directly cut off with a knife. The people around were suddenly shocked. Isn't there a flaw? How did you get killed by a single shot? Where is Luo-en's flaws? He even felt sympathy for Ronsa in his heart. Thump. Ronsa's tall body just fell straight to the ground, completely losing his breath. Ronsa Vice Admiral. What? Ronsa Vice Admiral was killed by Luo-en. How could it be possible? Ronsa is Vice Admiral from Naval Headquarters. The Marine soldiers present suddenly furious with shocked faces. They watched Ronsa make a sneak attack, and then they were killed by Luo-en with a single shot. The strength gap between the two is too big. But what they didn't expect was that Ronsa, who had the strength of Vice Admiral, was killed by Luo-en. At this time, the faces of all Marine soldiers were filled with shock. Not far away, Foil Beasta looked at Luo-en and couldn't help but squinted slightly and said in a deep voice. Quickly cruel. One hit is fatal. What a powerful swordsmanship. Even if I face Luo-en, I am afraid I will be defeated within 3 moves at most. The other captains around couldn't help but stunned. Beasta, do you have such a high evaluation of Luo-en? Luo-en's swordsmanship has become so powerful. Although everyone present was full of disbelief. But when they saw the extremely serious attitude of Foil Bistar, they all knew that Bistar was serious. To know, as the captain of the 5th team of the Whitebeard Pirates, Foil Beasta can be said to be the most skilled person in the pirates. Even if he is in front of Luo-en, he will lose in at most 3 strokes. What a high evaluation is this? On the ice in the bay. Step to step, Luo-en still walked forward towards the execution platform. Marine or pirates beside him did not dare to approach, for fear that he would be killed by a single shot. This is the deterrent of the strong. The sword smashed the giant Vice Admiral Ronsa, which has shocked countless people present. The other Marine Vice Admiral did not dare to step forward. Finally. A tall and thin man wearing a polite head and holding a black knife in the night had already stood up, and then a golden light seemed to be shot from the eagle eyes, and he walked towards Luo-en slowly. It was his predecessor, the most powerful swordsman in the world. Xiao Lin Fu, Doflamingo couldn't help but said in a deep voice, Hawkeye, are you going to challenge Luo-en again? I don't know if your retreat this month is effective. This man who defeated me once, I just want to see how big the gap is with him. Mihawk said slowly, and has raised the black sword knight in his hand. After this month of retreat, Eagle Eye also has a deeper understanding of kendo, and his strength has also improved. Kang. The black knife in his hand pointed at Knight. Mihawk looked at Luo-en solemnly. Luo-en, after I left the customs, I originally wanted to go to East Blue to try with you again. But I met you in this way. Luo-en smiled and jokingly said, it's just a different stand. You are indeed a rare opponent. He has discovered that the strength of Metric has improved a bit, but it is only a month to know. It can be seen that Mihawk does have extraordinary talents in kendo. Bring it on. Let me recognize the gap between myself and you. The world's #1 swordsman Luo-en. At this time, Mihawk directly called Luo-en the #1 swordsman in the world, which is enough to show that he recognized Luo-en's swordsmanship prowess in his heart. People around did not say much. After all, since Mihawk lost to Luo-en in East Blue a month ago, the name of the world's #1 swordsman has changed hands. Now that Luo-en is the world's #1 swordsman, I am afraid that no one will have an opinion. Suddenly, Luo-en also stood still, and immediately looked up at Mihawk. The pair of Rinnegan in his eyes met Mihawk's eagle eyes, and both eyes were filled with fierce sword intent, and they were indifferent. In the face of this strong man who had defeated himself, Mihawk did not dare to neglect at all, and had to go all out. He held the black sword in both hands, and a pair of eagle eyes that could see everything was looking at Luo-en, trying to find the flaw in Luo-en. And this time, Luo-en also unfolded Rinnegan's insight, as if the actions of everything around him would become very slow in his eyes. In the duel between Rinnegan and Hawkeye, who has the stronger insight? Finally, Hawkeye took the lead. I saw him holding a black knife in both hands and suddenly cut it out. What? A fierce sword aura came out quickly, slashing towards Luo-en abruptly. Luo-en immediately swung Ryujin Jaka when he saw it, and also swiped it with a knife. Boom. 2 slash waves abruptly collided. The endless air flow suddenly swept in all directions, and even the surrounding marine soldiers and pirates could not open their eyes. It's just the aftermath of the sword energy, it turns up this endless air current. The swordsmanship of Luo-en and Mihawk is really the pinnacle of existence in the world. I am afraid that there is no swordsman in this world who can compete with Luo-en or Hawkeye. Hoo. The airflow finally stopped, only to see Luo-en and Milik tens of meters apart. Come again. With Mihawk yelled. He stomped on his feet and ran towards Luo-en. Luo-en also had a slight look in his eyes, with one foot towards the ground, and his figure jumped into the air and rushed towards the eagle eye. Boom. Heidao Yi and Ryujin Jaka collide with each other in an X shape. Gazizi. Violent sparks rubbed against the blade. Drink. The two took a step back first. Immediately afterwards, they met again. Mihawk slashed towards Luo N's chest horizontally, and Luo N immediately raised the knife to block it. The next moment, Luo N snorted coldly, and Ryujin Jaka pierced Mihawk's abdomen directly in a strange posture. Mihawk's eyes were already high-spirited, and the black knife in his hand quickly blocked Luo N's stabbing. Even when he was not defensively, he was able to stab Luo N vertically again, each sword with an extremely strong sword intent. Kang. Ryujin Jaka stood steadily under the black sword knight, and again fought fiercely. Sparks splashed in all directions. Mihawk opened and closed with a black knife in his hand. But every one of his blows will be steadily hit by Luo N, and Luo N will also launch a counterattack. Chang Chang. As such, we fought for several rounds. The people around him were already 100 meters away and looked at Luo N and Eagle Eye in amazement. Never get close to the two of them. Otherwise, the aftermath of the sword aura alone can shatter us into pieces. Get out of here. Every time Luo N collides with Eagle Eye's weapons, a huge air current is set off around it. If ordinary people are close to the area where the two of them are fighting, they will be torn to pieces by the airflow in an instant. This is the battle between the top powerhouses. Every knife cut is enough to open the mountains and break the sea. Ordinary people dare not approach at all. Not far away. Foil Vista's eyes were already shining with excitement. Fast and fierce swordsmanship. If you can fight against such a great swordsman once. Even death is enough. But it's a pity. I'm afraid I can't fight against a strong like them with my strength. Even watching their battles can benefit me a lot. It is true. Being able to see the battle between the two top great swordsmen with your own eyes is a huge harvest for all swordsmen. Chang Chang. Mihawk launched an offensive frantically, with every knife slashing with a powerful force, and it was impossible for a normal swordsman to catch such a swift attack. The fighting spirit in his eyes has become more intense, and the excitement has overflowed his face. Luo N. You are in swordsmanship, the only one who can make me feel excited and excited. It's really a pleasure in life to be able to fight with you again after exiting the customs. Bring it on. Launched another storm-like attack. During Luo N's test with Hawkeye, he also found that Hawkeye is indeed better than a month ago. Mihawk, your strength has indeed improved a bit. But, I am still in a hurry today. The voice fell. Luo N drove Mihawk back with one blow. The two were 10 meters apart. When he was in East Blue, Luo N also directly started a contest with Hawkeye on the grounds of being in a hurry. And this time, Luo N was going to save Zoro and the three of them, so naturally it was in a hurry. Good. Hawkeye was refreshed. In the dozens of rounds with Luo N just now, he also realized that further fighting would only waste his energy. Paused. Mihawk said loudly again. In that case. It's like the competition a month ago. Next. One move will determine the winner. When I was in East Blue. Mihawk lost to Luo N, and Luo N chopped off the necklace from his neck. One move to decide the outcome. The comparison is the three main factors of fast, accurate, and ruthless. See who makes the move faster, more accurate and ruthless, and you can win with one move. Luo N and Mihawk stand still. Countless people around them focus their eyes on them. Compared with a month ago, Mihawk has improved his kendo by a few points, and his strength has surpassed a month ago. Being able to compete with Luo N in swordsmanship has not been defeated in dozens of rounds, which is enough to show the improvement of Mihawk's strength. At this time, Luo N and Mihawk face each other, and they both stand in battle with sabers in their hands. The strength of Mihawk is indeed stronger than a month ago, so it also puts more pressure on Luo N. Anyway, Mihawk was also the world's #1 swordsman before, and his swordsmanship in this world has already reached the top of the pyramid. If there is no Luo N, Mihawk must still be the strongest swordsman in the world. All the people around have held their breath, their eyes are fixed on Luo N and Mihawk. This is the duel between the world's top swordsmen. It was still Mihawk who took the lead. A golden light flashed in his response eyes, and the steps under his feet suddenly accelerated and rushed towards Luo N, holding the black sword in his hands tightly. Yi had concentrated on Luo N's body. This time, he doesn't want to lose again. And almost at the same time. But seeing Luo N stepping lightly on one foot, his figure also ran towards Mihawk, and Rinnegan in his eyes moved slightly. No doubt, Hawkeye Mihawk is already stronger than it was a month ago. But Luo N's swordsmanship was at its peak, and there was almost no room for improvement in his swordsmanship. Finally, in the eyes of everyone. What? The figures of Luo N and Hawkeye flashed past, and then they stood up at the same time and stood with their backs facing each other. What's wrong? Luo N fights against Eagle Eye metric. Who has won? Is it a tie? The people around couldn't help being suspicious. Both held their breath and looked at both of them. Suddenly, someone suddenly shouted, "Look at Hawkeye's hat. I only saw the bulging part on top of the Eagle Eye metric top hat directly floating down." Luo N. This second contest. I still lost. Mihawk sighed again, first took off the top hat directly, and then carried the black sword on his back. Yes, he was defeated. Even in the second match against Luo N, he still lost to Luo N. And if Luo-en wanted to with this cut just now, he could still cut off Hawkeye's head with a single cut. Even if Hawkeye gave up the attack and resisted, he would at least be injured. He already knew in his heart that he had indeed lost again, and he had lost again to the same person Luo-en. The people around were suddenly shocked. Hawkeye Mihawk just came out of retreat for a month. So his strength should have surpassed before, right? But today I was defeated by Luo-en again. The two top swordsmen in the world have already decided the winner. It seems that as long as Luo-en is there, Hawkeye Mihawk can only be the world's second swordsman. Foil Vista's eyes were already full of shock. What a quick knife, the winner has already been determined. It seems that Luo-en has no intention to kill Hawkeye, otherwise the knife just now can at least cut Hawkeye. The two are the world's #1 swordsman and the world's #2 swordsman, and the strong are sympathetic to each other. Unfortunately, my strength is far from defeating Hawkeye Mihawk, let alone trying to challenge Luo-en. He knew that with his own strength, he could not compare to Luo-en and Hawkeye Mihawk. Maybe it can compete with Mihawk a few times. But if he faces Luo-en, he is probably the result of being killed by a single shot. At this time, hearing Hawkeye Mihawk confessed to himself that he had lost. Luo-en nodded in relief. Mihawk, you can make such progress in 1 month, and your swordsmanship talent is really extraordinary. I have to admit it. On swordsmanship alone, under me, I would like to call you the strongest. The words are over. Step to step, Luo-en continued to walk in the direction of the execution platform. However, there is no pre-abandonment or loss in Mihawk's eyes. Because he knew that there was indeed a gap between him and Luo-en, although the gap was not particularly large. But it was the slight gap that prevented him from defeating Luo-en at the pinnacle of swordsmanship. I don't think too much. Mihawk turned directly, and then walked towards the distance without any wanton staying at all. Since he has lost to Luo-en, he does not intend to continue to block Luo-en. Not to mention, he just discussed with Luo-en just because of excitement and excitement. Buddha howls and whistle, what a wayward guy, Hawkeye. Doflamingo watched Hawkeye leave the battlefield directly, and couldn't help but said in a deep voice, you lost to Luo-en again. He left the battlefield directly. Gecko Moria immediately narrowed his eyes. He watched Hawkeye Micah having left the battlefield, and at this time he couldn't help but spit out coldly. Hehehehe. I thought it was Hawkeye's battle of revenge, but I didn't expect to lose to Luo-en. It seems that Hawkeye has completely become the world's second swordsman. And he even left the battlefield directly. He is still a wayward fellow. Hehehehe. Step to step, Luo-en still walked towards the execution platform. He left the ice in the bay and had already arrived on the square in the bay. The execution platform was in front of him. The execution is getting closer and closer. At this time everyone saw that Hawkeye had already lost again, and almost no one dared to approach it. Finally, hehehehe. With a dark laugh, Gecko Moria walked over directly, and then stopped in front of Luo-en. He and Luo-en face each other at a distance of 10 meters, and his eyes are full of arrogance and arrogance. Hehehehe. Luo-en, if I can get your shadow. Then you can create a very powerful zombie, an unkillable zombie that can possess your sword skills. It will definitely help me become One Piece. Hehehehe. As one of 7 warlords of the sea. Also as a man who has fought with Kaido. Gecko Moria has always had inexplicable confidence in his own strength. At this time, he dared to step forward and stop in front of Luo-en. Hehehehe. Give me your shadow. Since I am one of the 7 warlords of the sea, I still need to do something for Marine. However, Luo-en showed contempt. Gecko Moria. You are too weak, not qualified to be my opponent. The words were full of sarcasm and contempt. It is true. The only Shichibukai qualified to be the opponent of Luo-en is probably Mihawk Hawkeye. As for the other Shichibukai, Luo-en basically ignored them. However, it was such a sentence that immediately made Gecko Moria furious. Asshole, what did you say? Laozi is not qualified to be your opponent. Gecko Moria's face was already showing blue veins. Being ridiculed by Luo-en in public is completely equivalent to giving him a big slap in the face. Shadow Horn Gun. But when Gecko Moria's voice fell, his shadow turned into a spear and slammed towards Luo-en. In the original work, Gecko Moria used this trick to directly penetrate the body of the demon Oz. Enough to see the power of this trick. Luo-en's face showed only a trace of displeasure, and his figure jumped up. What? He only saw his figure flashing past, and he had appeared behind Gecko Moria. Huh, a burst of blood spurted. Gecko Moria's huge head fell directly to the ground, in those eyes. And Luo-en seemed to have just done a trivial thing, and continued to walk in the direction of the execution platform. Thump. Gecko Moria's body, which was nearly 10 meters high, fell straight to the ground, and the blood spewed out and instantly stained the ground. Need time. Everyone was shocked. They looked at Gecko Moria's body, and then at Luo-en. Originally they thought Gecko Moria was 7 warlords of the sea, even if they could not defeat Luo-en, at least it should bring a wonderful duel. But what everyone present never expected was, when Gecko Moria shot, Luo-en killed Gecko Moria with just one move. Good. Just, well, Wong Hao as a spike. Am I right? Gecko Moria is the same as Hawkeye Mihawk, he is also one of 7 warlords of the sea. One of the 7 warlords of the sea recognized by the world government, how could it be killed by Luo En in seconds? This strength gap is too great, right? Even if you can't beat Luo En, you can at least play against Luo En, right? How is it possible to be killed by Luo En with a single shot? Everyone was already frightened. The strength of Luo En seemed to surpass all the imaginations present. They only felt terrified, and their eyes were full of fear. At this time, someone finally came over and said, I remember that Luo En's apprentices were able to defeat Shichibukai's sand crocodile. Then Luo En, as a master, can kill Gecko Moria with a single knife. This is nothing unusual. Yes. Everyone nodded in response. Doflamingo saw Gecko Moria being killed with a single knife, and couldn't help showing a grin. Buddha screams and screams. Gecko Moria has been killed. It seems that I don't need to do it. Howl, howl, whistle. Doflamingo originally received the above order, and after the end of the Marineford War, he personally solved Gecko Moria. But now it seems, Gecko Moria has been beheaded by Luo En, there is no need for Doflamingo to do it anymore. At this time, Luo En has come to the square. The remaining 3 Shichibukai did not have any hands-on ideas. Bartholomew Kuma quietly watched Luo En come, the Empress Boa Hancock still looked at Luo En, and Doflamingo also showed a sullen smile and did not move easily. The pirates in the bay showed extremely surprised expressions. Luo En has arrived at Marineford Square alone, and no one dares to stop him. If we want to go to the square, we will definitely be chased by the Marines. Is this the deterrent of the strong? It is true. Luo En walked from the ice in the bay to Marineford Square, and now he is only about 100 meters away from the execution platform. He encountered only a few people's attacks along the way. He first killed the giant Vice Admiral Ronsa in seconds. Then he defeated Hawkeye Mihawk, who consciously left the battlefield after being defeated. Just now Gecko Moria tried to stop Luo En from advancing, but was also cut off by Luo En knife for a second time. The ordinary marine soldiers did not dare to approach Luo En at all, because they knew very well in their hearts that if they dared to act on Luo En, they would definitely die where I was buried. Sengoku had Wei Mi in his eyes. He stood on the execution platform and looked at Luo En in the square, with cold sweat already on his forehead. Luo En, this bastard suit. It seems that he is determined to rescue his apprentices. What a terrible strength. Both Shichibukai were defeated in a row, and even Gecko Moria was beheaded by him. What should I do now? Although the remaining 3 Shichibukai no longer shot, but there are still 3 naval headquarters admiral guards.